Represento las calles de mi tierra, mi bandera, ay, mi bandera, Puerto Rico y todos los latinos, sonamos donde quiera.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Salute, man. Before we even get into the Elimination Chamber, before Chicago, before the stakes, before WrestleMania 42 could take shape and start, somebody made a move in the shadows. Someone attacked Jey Uso, laid him out unconsciously, removed him from the chamber, and just like that, the whole entire Elimination Chamber WrestleMania picture shifted. Logan Paul steps into the chamber. The stakes change and implodes, but that's not all. We have an AJ Styles gets his Hall of Fame induction moment on a tribute show on Monday Night Raw. Gunther gets attacked by Daya Dragon Lee, sending a message. Brock Lesnar is back, hunting, open challenging. Over in NXT, we had a bunch of title changes that changed hands, like the brand is rebuilding, reshifting in real time. In All Elite Wrestling, MJF tries to cheat Destiny, but now Hangman gets his Texas Death Match at Revolution. And in TNA, Mickie James left laid out in one of the most personal angles of the year, possibly, or one of the most elegant type. This and much more as we recap the week in professional wrestling. This is a pivoted role before WrestleMania tonight on the Elimination Chamber. This is where legacy ships. This is where main events are born. And tonight we break everything down. Before we get all into that, we are shouting out on some incredible sponsors here on the Sports Jedi Network that were powered and match ready by Dude Wipe. Stay fresh, stay clean, stay match ready, stay main event ready. Also, Blackout Coffee. Wake up, stand up, never back down. Use our code RUMBLE for 20% off, or Sports Jedi 20 at blackoutcoffee.com. And GU Energy, the fueling game that takes you to another revolutionary stage. Go to PGH Chris 20 and save 20% off. We appreciate you backing the movement, a support of true fandom. And now it's time to get into the dissection of the chaos, the time for the elite analysis, and it's time for the sharpest mind on the network. Let's bring in the one and only PGA Chris. The floor is yours, pal.
Yeah, a lot of things to talk about. We got Elimination Chamber going on tonight. Couple things happened this week that, we're getting ready for big shows coming up here in the next few weeks. So yeah, this wasn't a bad week. I think a lot of these shows gave us some progression to, the shows coming up, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it like we do every Saturday. So, yes, this is Saturday. You guys know where to find us every Saturday at 1. So, yeah, I'm hyped. Let's go.
Yeah, I want to thank all our friends that we collaborated throughout the week, throughout the wrestling community. Of course, Wrestling Soups and Friendos. Jeff Lippman wanted to shout you out there on the audio side of the program. Check out the Guardians of Thoughts by Jeff Lippman on our channel here. You can hear some great stuff there, as well as Aaron Loves Wrestling, Marie Shadows in the Shadows, Square Circle podcast, the PUWF, the appreciation of the podcast of unappreciative wrestling fans. Our guy Alex Coquito, NXT Time with D-Walk and friends there as well. And of course, many others that support the program up and down. We appreciate you guys on all the collaborations. The Samuel Lyons experience as well, the Hello Media and the TCP podcast. Wanted to shout you guys out in early before the show begins. And let's go. We have some tribute. Monday Night Raw had a lot of mixed bags, mixed roller coasters of emotion on so many different frontiers, Chris. One thing that I personally got out of it, I wanted to give you that thought before I give you and go ham on this, was we had an AJ Styles legacy pretty much throughout that form of that. We had Gunther escalating the career killer persona to start the show. We had Liv Morgan WrestleMania decision, or the direction that she was heading in. And we had the Brock Lesnar open challenge speculation. Out of those, which one would you like to start on that Monday Night Raw?
Let's start with the Brock Lesnar, because I don't understand what his purpose of bringing him back for this Monday Night Raw really was to do. I mean, we really didn't get anything out of it. I mean, all we're going to get is another open challenge. To me, I don't know if they really know what to do with Brock Lesnar. Open challenge? I mean, what's the point of doing an open challenge with this guy? You could do a story with 2 other people. I know people want to see him and Oba. People want to see him and Gunther. Why not him and Gunther? I don't know why we aren't doing that. Do we really want another, like a Randy Orton situation for Brock Lesnar? Because I'll tell you what, at least Randy Orton let Joe Hendry get a few moves in last year. You think Randy or Brock Lesnar is going to get any one of these clowns that's not a Gunther or somebody, believable to get good shots in to have it be a good match? No. So I don't, to me, I mean, unless somebody in the chat, unless you can tell me the reason why Brock Lesnar was there and what was the real purpose and where we got with it, I want to know, because I didn't see that on Monday night.
No, I'm with you. Brock Lesnar comes out. I like the fact that the aura that he brings. And again, we heard this from Drew McIntyre talking about that WWE has turned into an aura farming with all the different talents. Who has the biggest package, coming out promo-wise or whatever the case. That's what it feels like. Roman Reigns, I think, said that on one of his promos a while back, too. Just when you guys are done with your penis measuring contest, let's talk some wrestling. Kind of feels like that. And something that I'm getting, at least for me, currently with the state of WWE wrestling, I feel I'm getting a little frustrated because they're scared to fill out to give you or the direction of the WrestleMania cards. We know not everyone's going to be in the main event, Chris. No, or in the world title pictures. But can you give us some storylines with other matches so we can get invested in the undercard? It's nice to have a nice undercard to set up the main event. Man, the undercard is really.
They don't have that right now,
and they're afraid to because too many people want to be Notre Dameses of the IWC and want to stooge out what direction they're going, and it's hurting the product because they're afraid of giving us a intercontinental title storyline in Finn and Dominic, because tonight they're having a match.
That has to happen tonight. That has to happen tonight because I think you know that on you have a good point. Even on SmackDown, I told you off air, before we went live that I actually thought SmackDown wasn't a bad show. But that's the problem I had still with this whole build to WrestleMania is only 2 matches feel important. And that's the Roman and Punk, which we really only got one thing with that. We won't see Roman until I think this Monday or the Monday after.
This Monday you'll see him.
This Monday we'll see him. So we're going to get that on track because we know he's scheduled to be there for the next couple of weeks leading up to WrestleMania. But that's obviously the main one that people care about. And then you had what's going on SmackDown because there are, you could obviously we all think Cody's going to win. I think Cody's going to win. Randy looks legit. There are some things that could happen, especially with what happened with Jey. So I think they have their main event scene good enough to where people are invested and they have some story. But again, like you mentioned, it's that undercard that nobody really cares about right now. That's why you have to have Dom cause Finn that match tonight. Get that intercontinental scene rolling. What's Carmelo Hayes going to do? I mean, he's the United States champion last time I checked, right? I don't. What are we doing here? There's just certain things again with the women. Again, you have your Stephanie and Liv, which that really doesn't feel like it's hitting right now. So I don't know. And then they're trying all they can with Becky and AJ. I don't want to hear them talk anymore. I just want to see them fight at this point.
And that's the only one that they're actually.
That's the only one that they're actually trying to get people invested in is the
and a storyline for an undercard storyline. The story again. It's not if the story you're liking it or if it's hitting, but they're giving an attempt to give a storyline that you could see there's going to be layers to it. Tonight, Elimination Chamber is one layer. Before, we had layers prior to it with the mixed tag team match, bringing her back out of retirement, her interfering in Maxine Dupree's matches, causing Becky the women's intercontinental title, the shooting off Natty at that time. At least they're trying to tell that kind of. It might not be hitting for you, but they're telling stories. But my point is nothing else. Everything is like they're on a standstill, hold off for the main event scene. And who's going to win and who's that, and then they'll build after that because they don't want to. Again, I think what hurts the wrestling these days is the stooging of the IWC Notre Dames. They want to tell you everything ahead of time, and they're not letting. And WWE's like you ruined the wrestling experience, but it's a double-edged sword because when you do an Unreal, you're kind of jumping in the same pool as the Notre Dame's predictions yourself, WWE. So I kind of feel very confused. As a wrestling consumer, not just a content creator, but as a wrestling consumer, what direction we're going here. Because normally we were getting billed And I always go to this, and I use this as a huge reference, and I apologize if it sounds redundant, and I keep going back or old man off, get off my lawn type of take. But when I had the build for WrestleMania 3, you knew it was Hogan and Andre the Giant, but you had all these other stories. You had Ricky Steamboat getting attacked by Macho Man Randy Savage, crushing his throat, where during the vignettes leading up to WrestleMania, he was trying to learn how to talk, and you got invested, and you wanted Ricky Steamboat to get his hands on that disgusting Macho Man for hurting his throat and getting in there. You had different angles, different matches. If you recall the card, it wasn't the greatest of wrestling, but the stories that got you wanting to pay the WrestleMania, get closed circuit television, going to the high schools to close circuits and do that. They're not doing that here. Simplicity still works. You still put your pants on one leg at a time. And it still could work here in 2026. Build, and let us get involved, get invested. We all know, okay, that I'm going to use them as an example. And I like to use them as an example. The Motor City Machine Guns. We know they're not going to be in the main event scene. But can you give us a story where we possibly could get them at a WrestleMania match? Where, even if they don't pull the trigger, get them involved with some stories. Or the low level, like a Finn Balor. I like what they're doing, Finn and Dominic. Throw some more. Give us a little more story. Give us some more different things, especially but they're holding everything, like everyone has to be in the main event scene. And if they're not, they're getting buried. At least they're doing, Chris, I got to give them a little bit of a credit, but it's not going to be for WrestleMania, is Obafemi and Rusev. At least they're teasing something there. At least, that face-to-face for 2 weeks in a row. But I don't know if it's enough for you. I don't know if it's enough, Chris.
I don't know. They definitely have, again, they have a couple things. Like you said, I just don't know if they want to do them. Like you could have, again, Sami Zayn. You don't have to have a lot of people. Like if you don't want to have like a triple threat multi-man match for your world title, like you can have Sami and Jacob, or Jacob and somebody else. Build that up, make it mean something. Doesn't have a title or nothing, but build that up to where the winner possibly gets a championship match at Backlash or any of the PLEs right after WrestleMania. Something like I know the mid-card titles, obviously you want those championships defended in a meaningful purpose, but even when it comes to like your matches, like Jimmy and Jey at WrestleMania 40, didn't have a match, but the story was there because they were brothers. Now the match sucked, but the story was, they tried to at least give us a story without a championship. They have multiple opportunities to do that again with Gunther and Brock, Sami Zayn and Jacob, or Randy Jacob on the SmackDown side. If Cody is going to be the one to face Drew, you have Solo in there. I'm not saying I want to see Solo and Uncle Howdy. We saw that last night, wasn't the greatest, but build that up a little bit more interesting. I don't see why that couldn't have been a match on the card again if it was interesting enough, but I don't think they put in the effort, not them, the creative. So I don't know. They have a couple things right there. I don't they want to make sure that they're paying attention to their hot stuff because that's what's going to sell them.
And they have the right to put a lot of their eggs in the basket in the main event. But how do you get everyone invested to go over the top? Is build the whole undercard. Yes. Look, they want to be modeled the TKO model. Dana White, when he puts on these UFC cards, number cards, they give you a hell of even the prelims, the early prelims got some heavy hitting fights. If you don't believe that, you could check out our channel's review of my son's Austin. By the way, I want to give a shout out to my son Austin, who's birthday today. And yesterday was my oldest, 30 years old, and Austin 29.
Happy birthday, boys!
Happy birthday to the men of the household. They're not even boys anymore. They're men. I can't believe that. I want to give them a shout out.
You got 30. You have a 30-year-old.
Time is good, man.
Happy birthday, guys! Hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Enjoy some UFC. Break that shit down, and
they're gonna be there. And he's got a video coming up after this show. We'll have that going on the channel. Austin will be breaking down, recorded, but he's gonna have it. He broke it down before going to work today. He'll be home in time for the UFC card tonight. He's excited for that. But yeah, the TKO model. They even do the prelims. Exciting. Yeah. They put matches or fights that you're like, oh, I gotta watch.
They give you packages for prelims. You might not even know who the hell these guys are, and they're showing you their fight camps, and they're a little bit behind the scenes and stuff. Like, yeah, they do a good job of building all their fights in the UFC, and they're trying to do that TKO model. And look, let's think about WrestleMania 39. And I go back to WrestleMania 39 because to me, that's still the last WrestleMania that was good.
I tend to agree with you.
I'm not saying WrestleMania 40 was bad, but
I didn't like it.
Again,
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like it.
I didn't enjoy it because there were two matches that, again, people really cared about. Same thing with last year. But look at WrestleMania 30. What match on that card didn't feel like it meant something? Ray versus Dom. Austin Theory versus Cena. You had Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. You had, again, I just gave you two matches that didn't have a championship. And then you had, like, come on, like, where's that at? I know where it is. I know, that was a pow. That was his last WrestleMania. Take it what you think.
Pal. And you loved it.
I did love it. That was the best WrestleMania we've had since TKO has not produced a great WrestleMania. I'm gonna be honest. And this is the shit why. They care about their role. They're starting to care more about their big guys. And it's just a TKO thing. I don't follow the UFC that much, but what I'm taking notice is like they're starting to, like, the fight nights, they're putting a lot of the top guys. Like Sean Strickland was on Fight Night. This guy's usually on like a main 320 card. Like, I think they're trying to make all their shows feel important everywhere. TKO. And again, it's their big main event guys that they're starting to care about more. That's just what I'm taking notice throughout the whole TKO company.
One thing, Chris, you can't do it with wrestling because
you can't.
In the fight game, there are different weight
classes. You fight once. There's different weight classes.
Yes.
You fight once or twice a year, 3 times a year, if that. Like, you can't do that. That's what they don't understand. But I'm taking notice of that.
Correct. And one thing you could do, you could put the cream of the cream I believe there's like 12 weight class division or less. You could put the best of the best each week for 12 weeks, and some of these fighters fight 3 times a year. Where you can't do that. Wrestling is a weekly episodic television that wrestlers could wrestle over and over, and it seems like you're being redundant with the top heavy. And then you say, and then people get upset. Well, they're only relying on the 40-year veterans. They
That's
want
what
the
I'm
top.
trying to say. Yes,
they've got the top heavy wrestlers. So how is the young talent that wants to break through get an opportunity if you're redunding the same 40-year-old top talent? You're telling them, no, you're not ready to get in this club yet. Then if they don't make it or they don't get naturally over, they get released, the fake outrage or you could debate if it's rightfully so or not, but they don't get an opportunity because they can't afford to put the young guy in the main event scene because of lack of building. So it's a hand-in-hand situation when you have a lot of pros and cons, Chris. And sometimes the con is outweighing the pros these days in professional wrestling.
Yeah, I'm taking notice of that. Absolutely.
And
especially
that's a tough
when it comes to high management and stuff like that. Yeah.
And that's the pros of con of being a publicly only traded company where you have to answer to stockholders, profits, ticket pricing raise. You have to give a product where people high price box office blockbuster main events. But then what's suffering is the building of the other mid card and wrestlers that are one day going to be your main eventers, but right now they need to get over and showcase and feel important in the mid card title in the middle of the card to get you invested. So when they reach the opportunity and they get the chance to be in the main event scene, they're already it's second nature to them, and they feel natural, and they can knock it out of the park. Now all eyes on me. Yes, I opened before, I was in the middle of the card, but now watch me close out and look it's your fault that you didn't pay too much attention in the middle of the cards, but look who I am. I need that and we're not getting that currently in all professional wrestling, pretty much.
No, we're not. We're not. And, this is WrestleMania season, guys. This is WrestleMania season. This is where the best creative should be in WWE specifically, but in all pro wrestling, because I feel like, when WWE has WrestleMania, AEW, specifically, they want to go harder. So, and
I feel like it's being held. I feel creative is handcuffed, and that's on them. That's on them. Be honest with you, they feel handcuffed because they don't want to do any other storylines. They don't want to put any emphasis on anything else important or make you want to care about, because they don't want to stooge out what's the main event and people who start to lose interest. So they can't tell you what might fill out the card yet. But here's one thing I got to say, Chris. I said it on my watch-alongs. I'm going to say it here on this live stream.
Mm-hmm.
This WrestleMania coming up better not be no minimum than 12 matches. I need 7 per night minimum. I need 14 matches. I don't need a 10-match card. 5 nights for one, 5 for nothing. That's bullshit. This is the Super Bowl of wrestling. Yep. It doesn't mean you need to give us a 20-match card. But you cannot skim off the top with just bare minimum matches and expect us to care about the whole entire roster. You need because everyone's wrestling dream, every man and woman that lace up their boots, whether it's in the independent scene or all across on the NIL, they all dream about one thing: being in WrestleMania, having a WrestleMania moment. You cannot limit it to just 5 freaking matches a night. These people work and they dream and they're inspired to be on this card. Just like the men and women hockey team, when they get on that ice, they thought about representing your native country, winning a gold medal. These people want to be in WrestleMania. These young men and women. This better be a card where you have 7 per night minimum to make sure these men and women get there. There shouldn't be tears out of Chelsea Green's eyes on Unreal didn't get a WrestleMania moment, because that's what she thrived for. Matt Cardona thrived for. I'm using them as an example. They left and come back. Every wrestler that you ask, you could poll and quiz them. What's your dream? Being in WrestleMania. We've asked that to so many independent wrestlers out there. You know, if I could fantasy book you 2 WrestleMania matches, they get excited. You see their eyes light up. So they better not limit them with only 5 matches per night, Chris. I just got to get off my chest.
You know, that's been the pay-per-view PLE model recently. It has been those short, and they have 2 nights. There's no excuse. They're starting the show 2 hours early. They're starting it at 6 this year in Eastern time, or 7 or something like that. And they're doing the first hour free on ESPN, which I actually just saw before we went on the air. So they have to, because what are they going to do? They're going to give us the first hour free, the people that maybe aren't going to watch it however way. And maybe somebody's like, I'll watch the first hour of WrestleMania to see if I like it, and then I'll buy it. You can't give us nothing. You can't give us these matches that really don't mean much or that nobody knows or cares about. That's a big part of, how people are going to buy your show. They have to start off, because they're not going to start off hot. They're not going to start off with a big banger match, I don't think. So they have to figure, again, the ladies, they got to figure out which ladies match is hot, whether it's Jade and Rhea or whatever, the most marquee, whatever. They have to start off with that and then build your way up to the show, to the main event. And my problem is they'll do that. Sometimes maybe they'll do that and then match the next 3 or 4 matches are just, or the next 3 matches. And then you have that one, they got to make sure that this show specifically is good, consistently good from start to finish, because of all the stuff that I just talked about that they're doing this year. Blackouts.
See, you just made a statement, and you said you made a gesture that I want to emphasize what I've been trying to say the last few minutes or that we've been on the air. You said if they start off hot and matches. Well, if you build the mid card and the storylines, you don't get the
exactly
matches.
Yeah,
and we got 6 weeks left. They need to put all hands on deck creative writing to make everybody else, even if you're putting Candice LeRae in a match in WrestleMania. And Candice, I am not picking on you. I am not trying to use. I'm just using as an example. You are talented because you're in a wrestling ring. You're doing what other men and women want to. So again, this is a disclaimer. I'm not shitting on you or making you diminish your talent. But if you want to make someone to get care and say, oh, Candice LeRae, if you put her in a storyline where, regardless if you don't like it at the moment, but storyline that they're consistent with, and they give you a little small video package that WWE does well on ESPN and tell you why Candice LeRae is wrestling, regardless if you like the story or not. But if they tell you why she's going to wrestle, I'm going to use, for example, Candice LeRae and Ivy Niles because of this, because of X, Y, and Z, Now people are like, oh, really? If they're tuning in, there's a backstory. This is a blow-off match. Oh, let me see with it. And I know WrestleMania, the wrestling talents tend to take their wrestling level to another. They go to another level of excellence. This is one thing I got to give professional wrestlers credit. When it's the lights are brighter, these people take their talents to another level of excellence. And if it's WrestleMania, they're going to bang it out of the park. And now you're going to start caring. You're not going to get the... And now you give me something free where people are going to want to watch your product because these people took their talents that they know they're gifted to another level by 1,000. And now that's how you grow the product. But they don't seem to grasp that. These corporate stooges, suits, analytics, MMFers, they don't seem to care. No, how much money we made, pal? Can we raise another 28%? Where is the people speaking behind the scenes in that could have a voice and say, no, if we do this is going to lead to that. The numbers say different, but if you trust the process, this is where Bruce Pritchard needs to open up his mouth. He's been in the business long enough.
I think the one person that could fix that isn't on the WWE side. The one person that I think could fix that's The Rock. But he's not. It seems like he's not on WWE's side.
Excellent point.
He's the one person that can get into TKO's ear. But he has something now personal against Triple H and maybe Pritchard and all that where he's going to align himself with TKO, not just because he's on the board, but, no one on that board knows more wrestling than him, which is a shame.
You made a good point. That's the guy. That's the liaison.
That's the
liaison that could talk to the analytics pencil pusher that doesn't know shit about the wrestling business. They know about how to make money and and
The Rock knows both.
He knows money and he knows what the product. He knows what the fan base, or at least for a degree, and a fan base, and what the product and how the traditions and how to sell the tickets. And they're not doing it.
No,
they're not doing it, and that's a shame. That's the thing that hurts and frustrates us wrestling fans. It's not about who wins and lost. Not because Cody's the one that won, or Vaquer Galup is the one that's going to win it, or Sugar Tits wins the title. No, I'm talking about the story and the analytics. What still works? 1 + 1 = 2. Simple, mathematic, simple arithmetic, simplicity. They don't do that no more, and it still works in these days. They're trying to reinvent the wheel and make it either squared or triangular. No, a wheel is round. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. That's it. Build it. Dudes would work for many years, but tell it different. It's okay to be. If you tell a story and doesn't hit, doesn't mean it's not terrible. You tried it. You did something wrestling. You tried it, but they're trying to do something so different. It just frustrates us. And that's Monday Night Raw reflected that frustration because their Monday Night Raw was atrocious. Now it could be they didn't want to take away from AJ Styles' tribute legacy. It was about celebrating AJ Styles, and maybe but it's a tough, risky one, especially close to WrestleMania and the go home show for a chamber. Other than Liv Morgan punching Stephanie Vaquer in the face with the microphone, what did it do for a go home show for Elimination Chamber that says I need to pay the $29.99 because they're going on the road to WrestleMania and they have a PLE tonight? I'm going to invest in that. What did they do, Chris?
Trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out right now because I don't know. The one thing I liked about that was maybe for a split second, we thought she was going to change her mind. But again, I think we know Liv Morgan by now, and we kind of saw that coming. So that's the positive, at least for a split second. But again, that doesn't do anything. If you would have had Finn out there with Dom more or something, that maybe gives you more of a idea or a thought that he could turn on him during the match with Punk. But because Liv and Dominic, that was still Judgment Day business. So I don't know how he could have, implicated himself into that because it was really between Liv and Stephanie. But I don't know. I don't know this. I don't think their few segments together have hit. And I hate to say this because it's it's our language, but it's the Spanish language that hurts this whole thing. When she's telling you that she wants to beat you, And Stephanie's trying to. That's why it gives me maybe because I hate when Triple A does that, and it's getting me and no reaction. Even when she talks, and no reaction. Same thing with like Asuka and them sometimes. Like it's just it doesn't work, man. At least right now. And I hate to say it because I think Stephanie's dope. But you have to give Liv Morgan something interesting to go into WrestleMania after her winning the Rumble, after all that stuff. To me, this reminds me a little bit of a Bayley and Io. But Bayley and Io was built up a little bit better because obviously they were former Damage Control and they had the story. But to me, it didn't feel like the main women's match at WrestleMania 40. And this, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out where they could go with this to make it interesting, but I don't see it.
You know what it is? I don't think it's because of the language. Español, hablando español, cortando los promos en español. To me, I don't have no issue with that. Maybe to a small degree, percentage-wise, like yourself. And to me, I've been saying it from day one. No one gave adversity or I need to care about Stephanie Vaquer. She came in and it was too easy. She came in with all the fanfare in NXT. Bam, they put her 2 titles. Immediately. No adversity, no struggle, no mountain, especially in a baby face. From a heel, you can see it. For the heel, makes it a little easy. Okay, they're chicken shit. They steal, they cheat, they cut corners. That's what the heel does. If you want to establish Stephanie Vaquer as this major monster baby face, she needs adversity. You need to feel sympathy. You need to feel the struggle to overcome something, to get to become that nefarious glory of triumph. They have not done that with Steph. She comes up to the main roster, other than losing to JC Jane, which everyone thought it was a shock and all. That's it. She comes into Evolution, wins the Battle Royal, #1 contendership immediately. She gets a little injured, whatever the case. She becomes champion. Too smooth. Crown Jewel champion. Too smooth. Easy. Nothing to care about Stephanie Vaquer. Now you're putting up against this hot commodity and Liv Morgan coming back from injury. She feels sympathy because she's trying to get back everything that she lost. It kind of feels like they switched the roles here where, and it makes you scratch your head. Is Liv going to be the babyface? I mean, Stephanie doesn't do anything. She doesn't give you vibes of heel or babyface. She's nada. She's too easy. Like, this is light work, and people are not connecting with this, Chris. In my opinion.
You're right. I think they. Okay, so you're right because they didn't do that. You said when she came in, no adversity, none of that. I agree. I think they waited a little too late because I do think they were trying to do that with what you're talking about. I think that's why they had Raquel and Stephanie had that mini feud that they had because Raquel was kicking her ass every week when Stephanie had that thing. Raquel was kicking her ass coming from behind her. So they tried to do that, but they did that too late. She was already the champion. By the time she defended it against Raquel, we knew Raquel had no chance. They should have made Raquel, like when Stephanie's coming in and was trying to build her way up to get to that championship, they should have had Raquel in her way right then and there. Not wait till she comes. So I think they did that, but they did that too late.
Not only that, she didn't lose the title.
And she didn't lose the title, exactly. So
there was no adversity.
And there was no in the match itself, you could tell that like she mainly had more of the moves. Like I'm just talking about the build. Like they did have Raquel, beat her up and they sort of tried to get us to feel bad for her in that way, but I don't think they executed it too late, which is why in my opinion it didn't hit that much.
I felt that's just for her. That's just a heel getting her attention. I didn't feel adversity. That's just a heel noticing me now. I want a title shot. I didn't feel that because I would have, even this sounds crazy right now, and I still stand by it. It would have not hurt even Nikki Bella to have a short title run, just a short one for a month or two. It's okay sometimes. Sometimes short hot potato title reigns are necessary just for a moment to.
I agree.
Accentuate the challenger getting his title back. They look what it did, and for us, we were up in arms. We were wrong. We were pissed off when Mike Santana made a short title run. And look out now as champion, how much he is elevated. It was a short title run for Frankie the Kazarian, and now look how we don't. Now Santana's like, wow, we'll talk about that in TNA. Why? And I'll put that with Santana. Why? I think it's has accentuated him as a champion. And now, for Stephanie Vaquer, I don't get that. Okay, she's, so that's why this with Stephanie's not hitting me right now. I want to cheer her. Listen, she checks the box. She's phenomenally gorgeous. She's a gorgeous brunette. Not even that. Not who cares about the looks, about even the ring. Her wrestling is even gorgeous the way she wrestles and moves in the ring with all different things. She could give you the lucha style. She could give you the grappling. She's got it. But she doesn't grab you to want to care about Stephanie Vaquer right now because of the baby face not going to any adversity. And then the theme music doesn't even help either. You're like, oh, they're like putting this. That's the one adversity that you could get behind Stephanie. It's the shitty theme music. That's the one adversity that you got. Oh my gosh.
A lot of these people can get behind them.
Adversity that she's got on behind her, unfortunately.
I guess we can get behind a lot of these wrestlers then.
No bullshit talking about that. No bullshit speaking there. Let's talk about this AJ Styles. AJ Styles, rightfully so, got celebrated. I like the fact that they didn't overshadow it with Gunther coming out at the end, attacking him, physicality. They gave him the proper respect. Gunther opened up the show. We know he has an issue with Dragon Lee. That's going to be resolved in the coming weeks here for television purposes for Netflix. I'm good with that. I didn't really need it for WrestleMania. I'm glad they're going to do that there, or who knows with WWE, who knows, to be continued with their creative. Sometimes they could get a little complacent or lazy, like people like to say. But we'll see that he didn't steal the spotlight at the end. I thought it saved Monday Night Raw, the AJ Styles tribute. Good to see Frankie Kazarian on WWE TV walking the boiler room with Abyss as well, seeing that character. Would have liked them to come at ringside, and they don't have to get in the ring with AJ Styles. I understand why they didn't go at ringside, because you're taking away the focus of AJ Styles, and you see, Kazarian and Abyss. But then he talks, he thanks why he gave the reason why he didn't take off his gloves. Pretty simple. He didn't want to leave it in foreign soil. He's American made. He's American born. He loves this country. He's a patriot, a man of God in front of his family. He wanted to give his gloves in front of his family and his home state in Georgia. Plain and simple. Do you blame the man, Chris?
No. You think I want to end my wrestling career in Saudi? Or at least, no. You think I want my last appearance in professional wrestling to be there? No. I don't blame him at all.
I have no issues, no ill will whatsoever. Left the best. Then the Undertaker comes out. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, ugh. This is where I went off. I was a little bothered. Like, why are you coming out? Why? Okay. And
he's the new guy. You know how in the NFL they knock on your door? He's the new guy for that shit now.
He comes out and he tells him that he's going to be his honor. First, I thought he wanted a match because the cinematic. He was like, Undertaker was a little serious. Like, oh damn. Regardless of the fact if you think you don't like him now or you think he's a joke, he's pussy whipped, whatever you want to call it. Excuse my French, from his wife or whatever. He's still menacing. When Mark Calloway stands in front of CrossFit, he's a big dude. When I'm like, oh, they're going to go at it. Is he going to ask for one more match and that's his WrestleMania moment? One more time, we're going to run the yard, brother. It's type. No, it was he had his honor and prestige, induct him in the Hall of Fame. Now we also complained last week. The Hall of Fame, only one inductee. We're getting weeks away. Let's start naming some Hall of Famers. We need a class going in here, and this is not going to be all 2 hours of Stephanie McMahon getting inducted, pal. We need some more people involved. And AJ Styles getting inducted, he didn't. If you could genuinely see, he had no clue that was coming and being announced there, Chris. I loved it. No, because it was genuine emotion. Mm-hmm. When you do something genuine,
he had no idea.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, he had no idea. Look, I think it was good closure for the fans too, not just for him, but it was good closure for the fans. Obviously, everybody knows the talk's going now, and rightfully so. I still think everybody had their right to say this, think this, because again, who was going to stop him if he wanted to? Clearly, they came into an agreement. He's in their Hall of Fame. Has aspirations to be a coach, trainer, which I think he'd do. No pun intended. I think he'd be phenomenal at. And yeah, I appreciate again that he went on Gallows and Anderson's show after to kind of clear some stuff up. because it's not that I didn't believe him and the Stephanie podcast. It's, you know, I don't believe a lot of the stuff that comes from those WWE affiliated podcasts when it comes to stuff like this. So good stuff. I enjoyed it. Obviously, he's my favorite non-WWE guy of all time in terms of when I started watching wrestling. I never thought he'd be in the WWE. He was my favorite. He's actually the guy that introduced me to wrestling outside of WWE. So to see him get inducted into a WWE Hall of Fame, it's sick. It's sick. And you know, I loved it. Good closure for him, fans, family, organizations. Maybe we'll see him not wrestle, but down the road make an appearance like he would in TNA. But I don't think he's wrestling. Not in the TNA ring, not in the WWE ring. If not forever, a long time.
He did say he's a man of his word, and when you're a man of faith,
and I think he is too. I think he's one of those guys.
He would stay to the left. Maybe one match, but not a run on any promotion. And he did say that on a podcast with his friends. You know, he had Frankie Kazarian, he had the Good Brothers, both, and he had the host of the show. I apologize for not getting your podcast on it. I should have wrote that on the notes on there, but check it out. You know, I'm pretty sure that clip was everywhere. I saw it through Fadeaway Media. I want to give them a shout out because they're the biggest copy and paster on the IWC, and I get a lot of news because of that copy and pasting. So I appreciate you, Fadeaway Media. Thank you so much. You know, that Elmo's glue is really good. I really enjoy it. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, pal. Yeah, and we're gonna see AJ Styles staying with the WWE. Did he get a lot of money? Yes. He also revealed he has a neck injury. You know, the neck is really bothering him. It's, you know, it's a lot of pain. We're seeing that with Jeff Hardy scaling back a little bit. You know, also taking Will Ospreay out with neck fusion. You know, getting a surgery. Big E retired. You know, though that bug is a serious. It could either hamp you completely where you're not even in the ring, or you're trying to get the fusion to get back, and you're still not 100%, and you're still dealing with pain. No one could tell any wrestler how to deal with their pain living in, day out. Look, even on our channel, Canary, she can't even stream because of her neck. You know, she would love to be here doing watch-alongs and being on camera and doing things. She just says her neck is just hurting her. And that's why we haven't seen her much on screen. In 2026, I don't think she hasn't been on a streaming platform because of her neck issue. So neck issue it's a serious complication all across, not just in wrestling, in everyday life, you know. So hopefully the best for Mr. AJ Styles to heal up and get back in there. Alan almost quit wrestling when he went to Japan, and Chad introduced him into the Hall of Fame. Andrew and Chad are going to induct them in the Hall of Fame. That's a question we're going to, with the weeks to come, who will induct AJ Styles to the Hall of Fame? Chris has an idea, thinks it's Undertaker. I will love Frankie Kazarian.
I want Frankie Kazarian, but like I said, I think Undertaker's. Yeah.
The club, the Good Brothers, the whole club. You know, meet you. She's still not. Still hasn't been released.
It'd be cool to like have. If not, it'd be cool to have like Finn, the Guns, like all Cody. He's still Bullet Club. Everybody. Frankie Kazarian was in Bullet Club, so he was in Bullet Club for 1 week. He was in 1 week, and then he turned to help.
I didn't know that. Fun fact.
He was in Bullet Club. I think he was in Bullet Club for 1 week, and then he turned to help Christopher Daniels win a championship or in Ring of Honor or something like that. But Frankie Kazarian was in Bullet Club for a week, so yes, they're gonna have all the Bullet Club guys out there. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
Kevin Owens. Yeah, I forgot about Kevin Owens. Yeah,
thank you for reminding us.
I had to think about Kevin. I was like, huh? Kevin.
No, I also got two herniated discs. I do have two herniated discs. I got my MRIs to prove it. Yeah. Thank you, KD. Thank you so much,
KDOT of BodySlam.net. Appreciate you, brother. I seen a couple of your stuff on X. So yeah, appreciate you joining us and supporting. Appreciate it, brother. Likewise.
Yeah. It's the Good Brothers. Yeah, you know what? Universal Slam. Yeah, it might be right. It might be the Good Brothers. They were on Raw with AJ, and I request them to be there. It could be them. You know what? But we'll wait and enjoy. And whoever gets that honor and prestige to induct him, rightfully so. I hope it's someone really, really special to AJ Styles' career. I don't know if Undertaker's that guy. Be honest with you.
I don't either. I just think they have a simple reason to play it out in the terms of. Like I said, this is going to be Undertaker's speech, guys. You know, I remember in the pandemic, I was sitting there and I got a call. I never thought I'd have a WrestleMania match again. Then AJ Styles called me. The rest was it. Like, that's what they're gonna play out. That's what his speech is gonna be. I agree, but again, it is the Undertaker we're talking about, especially now. I wouldn't be surprised. But in a perfect world, yes, any one of those Frankie Good Brothers, fuck Bobby Roode, like
Yes.
anybody.
Yes.
But the Undertaker, yes. But I can unfortunately still seeing that happen. But yeah, that's definitely a subject that we'll keep an eye on here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll get it more. Maybe it gets announced, maybe a hints on Busted Open. But we'll definitely keep you guys updated on that.
I think anyone who's there has a story, and it will be a good fit.
And and TNA, they're partners now, so
yeah.
It's not far fetching like some other these people that are other places, right?
No,
like
the fact that they show Kazarian being a contract in Raw, not NXT on Monday Night Raw, and and Abyss, who's a producer in the company and has a lot of history.
The first time he's came on as Abyss on WWE TV. Correct. So yeah, and they did again. AJ wanted so we'll see, but there's a lot of people, man, a lot of people.
No, and anyone will fit the bill, because I'm pretty sure AJ will have a lot of say on who gets to induct them as well.
Of course.
And and that's a good thing. So good job there. Monday Night Raw, granted, AJ Styles saved it. The other progressive storylines didn't do much, like we mentioned. Real quick rehab, because we'll move on to NXT, and of course we got a lot to break into. Hopefully Monday Night Raw with Roman Reigns coming up. We're gonna have the Elimination Chamber. We're gonna find out there. They said, they made a decision that him and Pierce and Aldis are going to open it together on the Chamber, which I think they're going to open it and they're going to send it to NXT. But with that said, we're going to move on to NXT in a good segue. But before we move on to NXT, I want to talk to you about our sponsors. A quick reset to move on to the next one. We're going to talk about our sponsor tonight, which is Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes. We're going to hear from Dude Wipes.
All right, quick break. Don't go anywhere. This segment is sponsored by Dude Wipes. Whether you're grinding through work, hitting the gym, or locked in for a full night of wrestling, Dude Wipes help you stay fresh. Simple as that. Portable, convenient, and designed for real life. And of course, this show is powered by the Sports Jedi Network. Independent wrestling coverage, real discussion, and a community that actually knows the product. If you rock with what we do here, support the sponsors that support the channel. Now, let's get back to the breakdown. Take it away, PGH Chris and Sports Jedi Kev.
You're watching Jedi Sports Network with Kev.
Indeed. Thank you, Jody Threat. Appreciate you guys. You can save with Dude Wipes, 20% off. All you have to do is capital letters. You text the word dudes, save 20 to 59463, and they'll send you a coupon code for 20% off. So you get your Dude Wipes all across, get your 20% off. Yes, indeed. We have our care pack here. Absolutely. Our bathrooms are stocked with it, and we're always match ready, clean, fresh, ready to go. Try the medicated after sitting your ass down for 2.5 hours of Monday Night Raw. You want to wipe up and be medicated in your bum. Of course, Sports Jedi Network and Dude Wipes were wiping out the competition clean. We go into Tuesday night for your NXT. NXT, I didn't do the watch along. I normally do the watch along. I always watch it. I just felt tired, fatigued, exhausted. Our big takeaways of NXT last Vanity Project winning the title, the women's division in chaos, the multiple title matches. You had 4 NXT heat up with all different storylines for Stand and Deliver. And for me, I said, were they $1 short? Or they were $1 short and a day late for me when it came to Sol Ruka and Zarya, Chris. Yeah. That's where I want to start off first.
Yeah, I know you've been all 2025. Literally, you've been waiting for this to happen. I thought of you immediately when I saw it, but it's too late. It is too late. I mean, dude, where is this gonna go now? I mean, this should have happened mid NXT, like October, September. This should have happened, Kev.
I even say no. I say this, Chris. I said that last January. I've been saying that if you watch all my watch-alongs, I say, look, Zarya, when she came into the company with the big four, I say the big three, but I'm going to put four with Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Jordan, Zarya. She came in with a lot of fanfare where you're like, oh, what's going on, Jeff? She looks like a badass walking through the world and punching the wall, that Badlands type of deal. She looks like her face paint looks like a heel. She implements an F5 and she freaking has a spear. She looks badass. They teased this back when Jordan Grace was in TNA Knockouts champion in that 10-woman tag at the ECW arena, where, you know, we never got a payoff with Jordan Grace and Zarya and so forth and all that. I thought if they didn't pull it at Evolution, where you have everybody watching the WWE product and the women's Evolution, and they don't know who Zarya is, let's play the Greca game. They don't know who she is, bully. I'll play that game. She turns on her there on that Evolution. Who the hell is this lady, female Brock Lesnar lookalike with this monster F5? Holy shit, I got to tune into NXT. She just destroyed this Sol Ruka. I mean, you hear they were glazing Sol Ruka back then. They didn't turn her there. They waited and they played this lovey-dovey love fest. You see that with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Where the hell that's going? Now Charlotte's eating ice cream. She could use eating the ice cream because she needs to gain some pounds around her ass because she's so flat as a fucking ironing board. And my point is, Zarya needed to turn heel. We needed care of her. This Stand and Deliver, I'm going to be totally honest with you. It should have been Zarya. It should have been Zarya versus Jordan Grace for the NXT Women's title. Seriously. But we don't know. We didn't get that. We didn't get that at all. We got Zarya now turning heel, which I'm happy. I'm glad. And I'm thankful. I'm going to say this. Thank you for the collaboration with TNA. Because we saw what Zarya needs to be booked on NXT television when she took on Yi Ying Lee on that Knockouts title opportunity that she didn't win the title at that time in Genesis, but we saw how Zarya needs to get booked. We saw it. We mentioned it immediately. That's the way Zarya needs to be booked in NXT. The badass monster, female monster that she is, the obstacle that is in the female division for NXT. NXT has the greatest women's locker room. They have great women that could wrestle, but you needed that monster obstacle, and they needed to bring it out of Zarya. No more rainbows and unicorns. No more finger painting or with Zarya and eating ice cream and going to Baldwin Park and hop skipping. I don't need that no more from Zarya. I need her to kick ass, and I'm happy that happened. Could it be a little too late? I'm at least I'm energetic and passionate enough to bring these points. I'm excited for Zarya. She needs it. And so Ruka, she's going to the main roster. She's after Stand and Deliver, WWE main roster bound.
Yeah, I agree. They should have done this obviously a long time ago. Her and Jordan would have been dope, especially if that could have been Jordan's way. Like, she could have been the champion already, and that could have been her send off to the main roster, and then Zarya takes over at Stand and Deliver. Yeah, I agree. I like that idea. It's unfortunate that they didn't do that, but it's tough because, you know, I don't know where. Like, I know Sol Ruka is going to get called up, but I don't know. Like, is this going to lead to a match at Stand and Delivered? Probably. My thing is, you should have still kept the North American title on Sol Ruka if you were going to do this. It would have made the match mean more, because Zarya hasn't won a singles title. So if it would have kept the women's North American title on Sol Ruka, and then they could have her, and they would have done this sooner. Maybe they could make last year Stand and Deliver, but this definitely now. Maybe because JC Jane was going to hold the NXT title for a while. Maybe they didn't want both their women holding long championships. So I get that, but I do think the story would have been much more better. Even though it's still late, I still think we could have, at least me, be a little more invested into the match itself, into all of it, because this is Zarya's chance to win singles gold for the first time. And now that she doesn't get that opportunity, at least right now, because none of them have gold, it's just going to be a match that is really, really overdue.
But they have saving grace, though. They have some saving grace, and I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
They got two events before Stand and Deliver coming up. They have Vengeance Day, which is going to be in the Performance Center. They're not doing it in.
Is it on a Tuesday or is it on a Sunday PLE?
It's on a Saturday PLE.
Yeah,
in the Performance Center, which someone here might be attending, and I might be. I might be attending that one. I might be going. I might be on that PLE in person for Vengeance Day in the Performance Center. I have the Vengeance Day shirt. You see me, I wear it all the time.
I know you wear it all the time. Yeah, because it used to be a Tuesday special.
It's a spec. I like it.
That's you went when it was a Tuesday special, I think, right?
I went there plenty when they were in the Performance Center.
Yeah,
and they also have Roadblock before Stand and Deliver in Madison Square Garden. Because I would love to see. I think JC Jane will be putting her NXT title up against Zarya. I can see where Zarya. I would like to see Zarya win the title either in Madison Square Garden. Personally, me being in the building, if I'm there for the Performance Center for Vengeance Day, would be nice. But if she wins it at the Garden, wow, and then sets up a match with Soruka and Zarya at Stand and Deliver, where I could see Zarya beat Soruka finally, and she could send off and go to the main roster. I'm good with that. You could still get us invested in it and want to. And also, JC Jane could be sent off as well to go off the roster as if she wants to go Actress WrestleMania. You could. I'm even for it to make a triple threat because the announcement came that Stand and Deliver for the first time will be away from the city that WrestleMania is hosting. They will be in St. Louis, Missouri, the weekend of WrestleMania, which is kind of a little bit of a bummer. They're preparing us when they go to Saudi Arabia for Stand and Deliver to be on its own city, but people don't want to watch it. But what sucks, a lot of the talents from the NXT brand loves to go and participate and be at the WrestleMania in the skyboxes or in the venue, because I say this, it energizes the NXT talent to listen and see what WrestleMania is about. The fanfare, the spectacle, the roars and the cheers, the oohs and ahs, and it motivates them to work harder in the Performance Center. I need to be there. I need to be part of that stadium show. And it kept, and you know what? And it re-solidifies them as wanting to chase that WrestleMania dream that we talked about earlier, Chris. Mm-hmm. It kind of sucks that they're not going to be there.
Yeah.
You're not going to be in that atmosphere, even if they're not part of the card, even if they're in catering, enjoying the cheesecakes or whatever they have, the lobster tails. But they're there listening and being part of that, being part of the WWE family. They're not going to have that experience, which kind of sucks. They're preparing us when they go away from Saudi Arabia. It reassures me that Stand and Deliver is not going to Saudi Arabia next year. They're staying in the United States. So that's a pro. That here, and I gave you the con. How are you going to get people to go to St. Louis, Missouri? Give me Zarya, Soruka, either one-on-one. And if you want to put JC Jane in a triple threat where Zarya comes up, I'm good too, Chris. I you know what? Book it. Build it. NXT, build it. I like the fact that the match went fast. That was the only title that did not change on NXT television, and they got to the point. They didn't clown around. They didn't have the match, and by accident she pushed me, and then no. As soon as the announcement, Bakata, she turned on her, get the pin. Let's go. Let's go fish. Let's fry the fish and let's sit down and enjoy. I loved it, Chris. It might have been a little dollar late, dollar short a day late, but they have time here to really get this train back on the tracks.
No, they do, and I want to talk a little bit about Stand and Deliver this year because I know me and you had our other things going on Tuesday, and this ties into that though, because I do think they have Stand and Deliver is their opportunity to get this back on track, like you just asked me. This is why I think a little bit of a pro, and this could be a disagree or agree, but I think having Stand and Delivered in its own day in a different city kind of helps the NXT brand, and it helps these because I feel like a lot if the pictures are true, not many people went to NXT last year. Stand and Deliver. I think they're getting ready. Hall of Fame was last night. You really think they're going to wake up early to go to NXT before they go to WrestleMania? That's why if you have that's my thing. You get NXT, the biggest show of their year, gets one night dedicated to themselves where they could shine. Now, having it, and I think they're having it in March? Or early April. They're having an early April instead of late April. So it also gives time in between weeks for people, if you want to go to Stand Delivered, I'm not saying you're going to go to WrestleMania, but it also gives people an option rather than being in Vegas. So I think and I think the wrestlers it benefits the wrestlers because I don't think that the fans and the audience will be as much engaged or as interested in any of these stuff, especially, one it might not be that great, and we're getting ready for Mania in a couple hours. So I don't mind Stand and Delivered kind of being its own thing this year. And they're getting ready for, like you talked about, Saudi. They're going to have to do this next year. So why not do it now?
Get us used to it. I think that's what they're getting used to it. We'll see how the tickets move in St. Louis, Missouri. Again, if they did this show, by the way, this show that we're reviewing right now about NXT was supposed to take place in Atlanta. This was supposed to be also at the center stage in Atlanta, and it was shifted back to the Performance Center. You had 4 title matches on the card this past Tuesday, where 3 out of the 4 changed hands. And remember, they had the issues; they had to bring it back because of the parking permits, not enough parking, whatever the case, whatever fiasco they had there, and they brought it back to the Performance Center, rightfully so. But here's one thing I didn't like. I felt that every title change was a copy and paste. Even though throughout the show, it felt copy and paste. You had someone come out, interfere, cause a distraction, and we had a title change because of the distraction. No clean, real. I get it when you have a heel team like the Vanity Project opening it up and winning the tag team titles again. Dark. By the way, it looked like boys versus men out there. Those kids, those look like middle schoolers versus freaking adult men in the ring. I'm not feeling the Vanity Project just yet. I am not. I like the way they got the pin heel wise. His partner put Ricky Smokes on top of the Griffin for the pin. I got that. I like that part of it. But Tony D'Angelo coming out, you're getting involved. You got interference. I was like, here's the problem that I had, and I said that on my NXT review. You're skipping the line on some good tag teams from NXT, like a Bronco and Bronco Lima and Lucius Prince. You did it with Enofe and Malik Blade when they were in their glory there when the New was tag team champions. We didn't even get a match between Enofe and Malik Blade versus the New Day. They're kind of the same team. They had Odyssey Jones, who could have been a Big E to their group when they were all together. And if there was, and I wanted to see that as an NXTer who sat through that 2.0 and watched Enofe and Malik grow up and entertain us from Level Up. You didn't even get them in the ring with the New Day. You're doing this now with Bronco and Lucius, who look like men, who look like who, if you put them on the main roster, they could thrive as a tag team if they were to book tag team wrestling in the main roster. Or even if you put them in TNA. They look like they could go in on Dynamite and kick the shit out of the Private Party. They make that into a freaking Chuck E. Cheese party, how menacing those guys look. And you're keeping them for the Vanity Project with guys who just got a couple pubic hairs on their nuts to win the NXT Tag Team titles? No, I'm sorry. I got disconnected. I can't get beat. I don't care what they did on Evolve. I'm serious. I'm gonna be honest with you. I couldn't. That's cool. They did their thing, but I don't feel them, Chris. I can't feel the Vanity Project right now for winning the title already.
I'm not surprised that Vanity Project won the title. I do think it might give those titles a little more credibility than like a Dark State or something, because those guys are up and coming and they're at least entertaining for the most part. But I gotta agree, I feel bad for OTM because, like you talked about, like Bronco, he has a good look. Like doesn't he remind you of like a Shad Gaspar type of look?
That's
or like
Lucius.
his physique. Lucius, I meant. My bad. Yeah.
Doesn't he remind the Spanish guy?
Yes. But Lucius, he has like that Chad Gaspar build. Like when he was coming, like I don't know, he looks good. Like they both do. Even in Broncos, who I meant to talk about, because I think he's like he's cool. Like I really fuck with like Broncos Lucius Bronco.
You met him outside of wrestling. The dude is freaking awesome.
Like he seems like, that's what I'm saying. Bronco seems like a cool. That's why I was mixing him up.
Always keeping an eye on his brother. You know, right. He's the guy. If you met him, you and maybe I'm being biased on my opinion because I know how he is.
They've been there for a while, bro, and they haven't. Yes. Like that's why I feel. But it's not because of that. Like that's a reason why. But they've been there for a while. I think they should have gotten the title before Dark State ever got 2-time NXT. They're telling me Dark State should have beat the Hardys before ODM got 1 tag team run. OTM, excuse me. Like, no. Like, but again, I'm not surprised because I think the Vanity Project is the next tag team coming up in their system.
and that's okay if they're their future and they have a lot invested in the project, in this vanity project, dudes. Stand and Deliver is there for them. You know,
maybe they have OTM build them up and have them take it away from them in the future.
How many times we're gonna keep building OTM? Like, you know, they started off with Jada Parker. First they started off with Reggie
Jada Parker
or Scripps, all three, and then they put Jada Parker 4. They took out Scripps with Jada Parker. They look like they were badass. Jada Parker is also stuck in his vortex too, of the OTM vortex. Always bridesmaids, never groomsmen or they're never group. They're always groomsmen. They never get over the hump. And it's starting to get tiresome because these guys are talented. You allowed Hank and Tank. All right?
That's the real one, right? Yeah.
Before them. And then granted, Hank and Tank put in the work. Great. People like them. The Hong Kong. But these guys look like they're... Booker T calls them Doom. They remind him of Harlem Heat. If you look at Doom, they remind me of Doom if you're an old head. From the WCW days. They are real legit. They should be. You're telling me you got a hard-hitting match between them two, Dark State. You're like, oh, damn, that's something. Not these guys. You know, they look like they I don't know. They look like they're gonna just go to give wedgies, and they just one guy's gonna, go down on his knees so he could push him and do that old trick where you on his knees, he's pushing, he falls over. That's what vanity. They just don't. They're not there yet. They're not there yet. That I'm not opposed of becoming tag team champions, but not this moment. Not last night. And then the plunder. The Tony D'Angelo, and at least they told that story there. But then you had the same thing in the speed match, qualifying match with Thea Hale and Blake Monroe. Out comes Jada Parker to distract. Thea Hale gets the victory on Blake Monroe. I understand the big feud is between Blake Monroe and Jada Parker, but it felt like you copy and paste the whole night. Even the main event. Congratulations to our guy who has given us a shout out and gave us a few minutes on the Sport Jedi Network a couple years ago in Miles Bourne, breaking and beating in one of the most hottest heel in all of professional wrestling in All Ego Ethan Page and becoming your North American champion. But you also had the same thing that we saw throughout the course of interference, distraction, title change. And it wasn't a bad show, but it was very redundant.
Yeah, I agree. I like Miles Bourne. That was exciting. I think that was Miles Bourne's best match in NXT. Ethan Page is great. We'll probably see him move up. That's probably why he lost it. I think he deserves to be moved up. I think he should have been called up a long time ago. A lot of people are speculating that he joins Division because of the injuries.
I said that as soon as that happened. On the next time,
really? Yeah. You know what?
I said it to myself in the couch because I didn't do the live stream. But then when I did the following day, I said that's what it looks like. I would love to see Oli and Paul Heyman working together.
So I said that to myself too when I watched it Wednesday morning, kind of getting ready for later on my Dynamite review, and I'm like, so he's probably the Masked Man. I was like, was he the Masked Man coming around? He's just been on NXT, and then the reveal, obviously that wasn't it, but that was my thought. That he was the Masked Man all along running around, and clearly that wasn't.
He's been on NXT. He's been on WWE television when he was.
That's why I thought he was. Yeah,
when he was supporting Chelsea Green when they were mixed tag team titles on SmackDown.
Yep.
And also he's got everyone could play the famous pat on the ass from The Rock on
NXT. Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things with All Ego. I don't know if they do it because they want to keep maybe him around for that show in Stand and Deliver. They need still to have asses and seats. And All Ego Page does bring ass to seats if he sticks around NXT. So I don't know. Fantasy-wise, it would be great to have him go to the main roster, be that Masked Man, or join the Vision, to be part of that with Paul Heyman, where, I see the Vision, and we're gonna twist all the frowns to a grin, and you have a twisted grin. It could work some along the lines, but I don't know if they'll do it, Chris, because we don't know. That's us.
I agree. They do need people for their St. Louis show. I think they made that mistake. Didn't they call up Stephanie and Julia right before Stand and Deliver last year?
If I'm not mistaken, afterwards.
Was it? Okay.
It was Mello.
Who was it?
Mello, Tiffany Stratton.
That's who they called up before Stand and Deliver. That's okay. They can't make that mistake this year. That was the year I'm thinking of.
Yes. They did Trick. They did Javon. They did Obafemi. So they did. History repeated itself.
Right. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Yes, because I'm trying to think of who were the key people recently that got moved up to the main roster before Stand and Deliver. Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that.
but they did it. So they're banking on history.
Yeah, look how Stand and Deliver was, especially when they were at WrestleMania weekend. Now they're not at WrestleMania weekend, so you could still have somebody like Ethan Page do Stand and Delivered and have him go to Vegas. Yeah, it's a week apart. It's not like it's right then and there. You can go back home to Canada.
You know what? I didn't fall under the. I thought it was the same day, so the dates are different. Then see, I assumed it was the same day. So correct me if I'm wrong. Stand and Deliver is not the same Saturday or Sunday of WrestleMania then.
This year?
Yeah.
No, it's like 3 weeks apart.
I did not know that. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I got egg on my face because I didn't even look. I just saw Stand and Deliver. I didn't even pay attention to the dates. Because here's the reason why. Because I'm not going to any one of them, and I didn't put any care of where they were. I'm going to be covering regardless.
It's April 4th.
Okay, so it's not even their week. So the talents will be in St. Louis and in Las Vegas to get in the WrestleMania experience. Okay, because they got to sell out the WWE world. They need to pump $350 for 5 seconds with your favorite wrestler for a quick photo op. They need to keep that going on. And this one's a good one here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. If Cody goes full Homelander, I can see the faction consists of Paige, Ricky Saints, Royce Keys.
I love that.
I like that. I think it'd be funny, right? Because of obvious reasons. But yeah, I like that. I think Cody, one of my short criticisms with Cody, who is he put over being world champion? This is his way of doing that. And yeah, I love it. Good job, K-Dot. That's a good thought. My only thing is, trust me, I want them to. I still don't know. And we're going to talk about that right now, but we could maybe see that happen. Because I saw we have a pool in the chat. If you go on the YouTube, there's a pool about the mystery.
And on X too.
And on X. And I don't want to get too ahead, but your comment just brought that to my mind. And stick around because I'll get into that.
Yeah, and all in all, we were going to wrap up this NXT portion. NXT was a very good show. Despite they had good numbers came in from their ratings. Very good job there for them. This was supposed to be a show that was supposed to be in front of a live crowd in Atlanta, Georgia. Things changed, things happened. It was last minute or a couple of weeks removed back into the Performance Center. They're going to sell it out regardless because it's always the same faithfuls that go each and every week to the Performance Center. So they didn't have any issues of filling that Performance Center out. Those people were already there before even if they were in Atlanta, they were in the parking lot waiting to go NXT for a week early. So they didn't have to worry about filling out the arena, the Performance Center. They were going to be there. This was a good show for NXT. Could be a little redundant when it comes to the finishers, but all in all, they're trying to shake things up on NXT on the go home week for the Elimination Chamber. We're going to go right into Dynamite, where Chris did a hell of a job reviewing. We got some stipulation and more, but first we're going to hear from another sponsor of ours. This is a way of us resetting for when we do the audio platform as well to break down the segment. So we'll hear a quick break. We'll be right back.
Sports Jedi Nation, you already know how I move. I don't start my day without two things: standing firm in what I believe in, and a cup of coffee that actually represents those values. That's why I rock with Blackout Coffee. It's a 100% American company, unapologetic, patriotic, pro-Second Amendment, and anti-woke nonsense, no corporate posturing, no virtual signing, just real coffee for people who still believe in God, family, and freedoms. Every bag is a roast right here in my beautiful state of Florida, and it's shipped straight to your door. Fresh, bold, no compromises. If you need to hit the ground running, the Morning Reaper I suggest, a medium roast that goes smooth, powerful, and kicks like a mule. Support a company that actually gives a damn about this country. Go to Blackout Coffee Rumba. Use my promo code Rumba for 20% off or Sports Jedi 20 of your first order. Blackout Coffee. Wake up, stand up, never back down. Fuel your freedom. Real coffee with real values. A bold, backed by freedom. Wake up and think free. And may the sports be with you.
All right. Thank you there to Blackout Coffee. Use our promo code and save 20% off. Try the Morning Reaper or the Spirit of 1776. We'll get you going there. Nice blend there. Thank you for Blackout Coffee. Follow them on X. If you try the coffee, give them a review. They want to get going. They're from our state of Florida. But We'll go right into Wednesday night. You know what that means? It is Chris's takeaway of the Dynamite. We got a Texas Deathmatch announcement. It's the biggest Texas Death match into Revolution. We got a Mile High March Madness match all throughout there. Gabe Kidd and Orange Cassidy. I can't wait to hear Chris is enthusiastic. And Swerve's promo set up the future title implications. Chris, great job on your review. Talk to us about this Dynamite.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a little, second little quick review here on a Saturday, kind of like I did Wednesday. I'll mention some things I mentioned here real quick. They were, again, another sold-out week, 2 weeks in a row, which, good job. They had a little over 3,000 people. I know that's whatever, but they ran out of tickets 2 weeks in a row. That is still a sellout. Just want to get that out there. So, good job. I thought the ballroom in Colorado looked fine. They didn't look bad on TV. It's kind of like in TNA when they were was it Nashville where they had like the seats, the stands looked like the Hammerstein type. That's kind of what it looked like here. So it wasn't bad. There are two things mainly to keep this kind of brief. We got a lot more wrestling to talk about. There are two things I'm going to get into from this show. First off, let's get this out of the way because I know he wants to hear it. Orange Cassidy versus Gabe Kidd. I'm going to say this for the 50th time. And I think this. Orange Cassidy is the worst wrestler to ever set foot in AEW. I'm going to say this right now on our weekly show, on our show where we get the most traction. Orange Cassidy is the worst wrestler to step foot in that company. I'm going to say that right now. Guys, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of a guy like Gabe Kidd who is actually, I'm not saying he's the next big thing or ever, but he's a tough dude. All right. His selling sucks in my opinion, but he's a tough dude. When you're going to tell me when he's throwing haymakers at Orange Cassidy as hard as he can, and then the crowd, the sad part is the crowd is going ape shit. Like AJ Styles just walked out the door challenging Will Ospreay. Oh! By Orange Cassidy. That was awful. I hated that match. Orange Cassidy knows like 3 moves. He knows how to do a DDT, a stupid punch, and a hands in his pocket dropkick. Tell me why people like this guy. I've been saying this for 5 years. And I'm going to say this again. Why do people like that guy? Moving on. Here are the 2 things I want to talk about. One, let's start with this, Kev. MJF and Hangman, they're doing their Texas Death Match. I don't know if you watched this segment, but Tony Schiavone is freaking useless, number one. He does not make this thing feel any more important. His job apparently is supposed to be the moderator. They're not signing a contract. There's no point of him being out there. Hey, Tony Khan in my ear is telling me. Whatever. I thought the segment was corny because, to me, I really thought they were going to decide this whole thing on a coin flip. What? The creative has nothing creative to figure out how they can come back from the Hangman stipulation that they have to flip a coin. I literally thought they were going to decide this on national television off a coin flip. And the stipulation that MJF had, a one-way no DQ, which means if MJF wants to come out and hit Hangman with the chair, that's perfectly legal. But Hangman can't do that. Otherwise, he loses via DQ. Heel stipulation, right? I'm not mad at that. That's a very, very heel douche MJF stipulation to do. But they didn't really have to do a coin flip. And I know the coin was fake, this and that. This did not hit like I thought it was. I think their promo segment last week was better. And I'll put a pause on that before the other subject I want to talk about.
No, here's the one thing. I like the fact that it was something different. Where the stipulation is, I'm going to be fully no disqualification and you're not. I thought they were going to go that route. I was like,
that's very heel. That's a heel MJF thing to do. I'm not mad about that.
Especially with the ramifications that if Hangman does not beat him, he could never challenge for the world title. Talk about putting a paddle up shit's creek for Hangman if that was actually the stipulation. You know what? It's not hitting for me. And we talked about it last week, and it came out to bite them in the ass this time. They still got to the Texas Death Match, where Hangman went with the diarrhea in the mouth. Texas Death Match! When it was supposed to be MJF to agree and actually say the words tag team death match. It should have been revealed last night or this week on Dynamite. Last week screened by Hangman Page. We already knew that was going on. They really didn't do anything but just to take up time on that. They try to put the levity there where thinking a little bit outside the box, like we said about the two-headed coin and the shenanigans of the heel, trying to make Hangman like a total geek there where
That
you're
saved
never
the
going to
segment,
challenge
though.
it. That did save
The coin being flipped fake, that saved the segment because it was like, oh, okay, that's so like, because to me, again, you're really deciding this on national television off a coin flip. Like, that was my thought. This isn't football.
I would have loved. I would have
They
loved
made story out of that, which I think saved it.
I would have liked it. It's just a nitpick, minor nitpick. When the coin was being flipped, I would have loved Hangman to grab it in the air, looked at it, and saw it was double-sided and punched MJF. I would have liked that. Like, you cheating bastard. You know, this is a two-sided coin. Not wait, hey, let me see that, pal. You know,
yeah. I agree. No, I agree.
That
You have
wasn't it,
Brody
but
King
it's
and
a
all them
nitpick.
coming out. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. That's a small nitpick.
It's a small nitpick. It's a small nitpick.
It wasn't bad, but I think, I don't know. I feel like the fit last week was. And again, get Tony Schiavone out of the damn ring for this. He does not need to be in the ring for this. They're not signing a contract.
Guys, this was a good segment, guys.
They goes back on commentary like that should have been Renee Young, if anything, Kev. If you're gonna have somebody out there, should have been Renee. Anyway, the other thing I want to talk about.
You know what? You want to stack the deck? Alicia too. When he has the two double-sided coin, and Hangman's like, "What are you stacking the odds against me here? You got your."
That would have been yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. I like that. That's some. Yeah, I like that. One thing I want to talk about though. We all know the Harley.
Before you go, I got it. Hold on a second, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is every Wednesday night. You see
that
this
trash ass DDT, that stupid orange punch, and him putting his hands in his pockets and drop kicking somebody like a dumbass. I do not see the hype in Orange Cassidy. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say this every week as long as I see Orange Cassidy on my TV screen. Ladies and gentlemen, and again, this is my opinion and my opinion only. What I'm about to say does not reflect, and nobody else on the Sports Jedi Network feels this way. This is strictly PGH Chris TV. So I take the blame for this. But I'm going to say this, and I say this every week. Orange Cassidy is the worst professional wrestler in the history of all elite wrestling.
I just want
You're gonna get me in trouble. But look, I stand on that. He's the worst wrestler to ever come out of that freaking company, man. It's terrible. It's terrible. I don't wish him any bad. I want him to keep doing his thing, but do it differently. Because your gimmicks suck. It's the gimmick. It's not anything against Orange Cassidy, him. It's his stupid gimmick that has been boring for the last 6 years. So I'll never forget listening to Cornette Double or Nothing 2019 where he ripped his ass. Oh my God. Great stuff. No, that was awesome. Yeah, every Wednesday, you'll hear that. If you come on every Wednesday after the show, guys, come join.
Immediately after AEW Dynamite on the air on this channel, hit the notification, instant reaction recap.
Yes, that was fun. That was funny. But I stand on everything you guys just watched all the time. But no, okay. So one thing seriously I want to talk about, Harley Cameron. I don't know if you saw, she deactivated her socials. I'm going to say this right now. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and sit here and say, you guys, whatever, because did I tweet something initially? Yes. My exact tweet, now there are some people that are taking it too far. All I said was, when I did the review show, I didn't know what happened. When Penelope Ford did the backflip, I didn't know she got hurt until I realized that Lana Cross came in to hit the DQ. I didn't realize that something was wrong because I think Megan Bayne and Penelope were actually supposed to win. But I said this, and I still stand on it. maybe this came off rude. So if this came off rude, I do apologize, because I do feel bad that Harley Cameron had to deactivate her socials, because I think she's a nice person. I've listened to a lot of her interviews. She seems like a sweetheart. But how did she win a Most Improved Wrestler of the Year award? That was my tweet. And I don't see the improvement. I think this showed why. Again, I understand this is professional wrestling. Anything could happen. Injuries happen. But when you know you're doing a spot like that, again, I'm not a professional wrestler. Maybe we could talk to a professional wrestler. We know many of them that could maybe educate me a little bit more. But as a fan who's watched this pretty much my whole life, when you're doing a spot like that, and you see a lot of these times where everybody's lining up, when Darby does his crazy spots, when the Young Bucks do their spots, Anarchy Arena, you see all those guys like, come on. Harley was late. This is the same shit that happened in TNA where Leon Slater and everybody was blaming Moose. This is the same thing. Now, again, I'm not comparing Moose and Harley Cameron. My point is, things do happen, but again, she came into that thing late. Like you saw, Willow tried to do her best. Harley Cameron came in as she was midair. She didn't come in before she jumped. Just looking at it as a fan perspective. But I do feel bad she had to deactivate. I think a lot of people are taking it too far, but that was my tweet. I don't know how she won a Most Improved because she hasn't improved. But, it is unfortunate because I do think Penelope and Megan were going to win. And, I have some other things to finish off that, but I want to hear your take on that, on the whole, Harley Cameron stuff.
Unfortunate situation. We know Harley Cameron needs more reps, more ring time. We know she's pretty fairly, not green, but not a lot of experience when it comes to that. This is something that we've been saying, and something that we saw Charlotte Flair take off out of her repertoire. Tiffany Stratton teased a little bit. You saw Ruka. We'll love her to remove that moonsault on the outside. Nothing good happens when they try to do that moonsault outside, because you're going into concrete. You're going to tear ligaments on your knees. You're also counting on your partner or your partner or your competitor to catch you or get the brunt of the moonsault. When in human nature, instant reaction is to flinch or to move. It's rare when you have that type of real strong control to stay there and not flinch and not move. Your natural reaction is your body defenses moving and reacting and moving out of the way. I can't blame Harley Cameron to a degree that much, even though she's a professional and that's her profession, where she's supposed to sit there and kind of catch and be a buffer for that landing. It's a tough situation not being in there. You're criticizing someone on their natural human reaction in their body, their defense mechanism, their natural reaction. So that's a tough one for the IWC to really give her the heat, where she had to go away and activate her account. That's a tough one, man, because we don't know how we're going to react. We don't know. Like right now, I could be on a live stream and a mosquito, and as that happened to me, a mosquito has come and bite me, and I flinch and I'm like, react. I don't, in the summertime. So that's natural reaction. You're a professional, so quote unquote. You're doing a podcast. You should be looking at the camera and looking straight ahead. But a mosquito just made me. My natural reaction is to flinch. Right. So I'm trying to compare something. I know it's different aspects, but it's still reaction from a human performer. So it's tough for poor Harley Cameron, for Megan Bay and Penelope, who's just came back from an injury, and I know she wants to wow the crowd, the fans. She did that moonsault not to be reckless, not to be insignificant. She did it because she wants the love and the entertainment of those people that pay to see her and watching her around the world. And I can't get too upset with her. This is where coaching, producers, veterans, and this is where the talent needs to listen. When they tell you slow it down or try something different, it's not because they're trying to hamper you or telling you not want you to get over. Is they want to avoid what just the outcome or the consequences that happen here with Penelope Ford and beat Harley Cameron. That's why they're the veterans and the people that been there who have crossed the river and gone to the other side to get dry while you're trying to navigate in the waters, trying to give you advice how to cross that bridge without getting shit all over you, and I wish they would listen. Unfortunate situations. Sometimes people have to go through their own trials and tribulations themselves to learn and listen. And for Penelope Ford, maybe taking that out of her repertoire in the near future. And for Harley Cameron, this is a real pinnacle part. Is she going to get back on that horse, not the social media horse, how she's going to react with the crowd? Either she's going to let that bother her psychologically and not be able to perform and have that imposter syndrome that she's not really a good performer and what they're telling her on the IWC is true, or she's going to rise above that and like an eagle soar to another level of excellence. Only time will tell for those ladies.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, it's unfortunate because I do think the story that was going to happen, I talked about this on my review show on my end, was like, I could have seen either one or two things. Like if the match was going to go clean, where Penelope and Megan Bayne win, and then Harley Cameron turns heel, and then her and Willow set up for a TBS title shot, or something happens where Willow gets pinned by Megan Bayne and her and Megan, because I've been saying this for weeks. I said this on my first review show 2 weeks ago, and I talked about this last Saturday, where the story is Megan Bayne and Willow. To me, that's the match I want to see. That's the story I want to see. So who knows? But I think the story can continue, and I think now more than ever they're gonna pull the trigger on Megan Bayne, and hopefully they do that with her. She could, if she beats Willow for the TBS title, I wouldn't mind it one bit because I think it's long overdue.
We'll see.
Other than that, I mean, Dynamite wasn't bad. I hated that main event. I know a lot of people liked it. It was
Anarchy on the Mile High.
Anarchy in the freaking Mile High. Anarchy on the Dynamite. I know a lot of people. This is why I watch AEW. I love this is somebody who loves. I love Anarchy in the Arena. I love it. Once a year, we get blood and guts. We get these type of things a lot. I say this a lot. They didn't need to do this. You know what they should have done? And I said this on my review show every Wednesday night immediately following AEW Dynamite here on the channel. The match that they should have done was the Young Bucks and Jack Perry versus Ricochet and FTR. Why? FTR and the Young Bucks obviously have their feud. They're fighting at Revolution. They started off the show with a video package of FTR beating up the Young Bucks' other brother, who's not a wrestler, at ringside on the Collision the other week. And why do I say Jack Perry and Ricochet? I mean, Ricochet has a championship, doesn't he? Just add Jack Perry, boom, you could have Jack Perry versus Ricochet. That's what they should have done instead of this mess.
I mean, I can hear your thoughts. I think they just wanted to oohs and ahs the sold out crowd there at the arena.
Because we got a ooh and ah last week with a main event that involved two of the biggest wrestlers in the company. Yeah. That was, to me, we had that last week.
But that's the owner trying to chase the sugar high of the arena. Of the people that went there. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
And look, it wasn't. I'm not gonna call it the worst thing in the world. It was just, we get that a lot. We get the Anarchy Arena's coming up in Double or Nothing in a couple months. Like we're gonna get.
You seen that? You saw that? That was one of my gripes in NXT. Copy and pasting with all the plundering of the interference. You saw that here with the matches with AEW. There's a lot of copy and pasting, Chris.
Yeah, no, I agree. But other than that, I mean, we heard from Swerve, who explained why he did what he did to Kenny. I don't. This is the last thing I will talk about on my end for AEW because I think this is the last thing that's really kind of important. I worried that Swerve wasn't going to show up in the next couple of weeks after he beat Kenny or after he did what he did to Kenny. We weren't going to get a follow-up, but he stood on the announce table where he threw Kenny over. He explained, and I don't think this is, and I thought Swerve was a heel, but I even said this on my review show on Wednesday, and I listened to a couple other people, and I think we're all in the agreement. Some of us are in the agreement. I don't think Swerve's a complete heel yet. I just think he's more of a man of his word because the reason why he did what he did and he told us was because Kenny Omega was in his way. And he told Kenny Omega on the Dynamite before their match, if you get in my way, you're gonna have to pay. That's exactly what happened, and Swerve just did what he said he was gonna do. Now, my thing is this: what determined if he's going to have a heel run? If MJF wins and he comes out, I still think no matter what, if MJF wins, he comes out and face to face with MJF. If somehow randomly Hangman wins, Swerve has to come out. So either way, I think that guy should come out at the main event. But if that's why I think he might go to babyface, because I talked about this with Dynamite, with Dynamite in this year. What I've liked is they gave MJF the title, so now it feels like, and kind of like TNA recently, like you have a bunch of baby faces that want to challenge MJF. Like in TNA, you have a bunch of heels that want to challenge Santana. So I like that with AEW. So you don't want to lose that. Again, Swerve is still one of your biggest talent. You should turn him heel after the match with MJF, or something where I don't know. Like it's a tough one. If they do put him heel, because again, to me, I would have loved to see Andrade and MJF, but again, he didn't win that match at Grand Slam Australia because it wouldn't have fit the memo of all the baby faces wanting to go. That's my only kind of issue with Swerve turning heel.
No, like you mentioned, one thing that I think struck a nerve to Swerve Strickland, that Kenny Omega, like you said, he is in his way, but he also said Brody King is the most dangerous man in the AEW. That's what pissed off Swerve Strickland. He's considered to be the most dangerous man. Oh, you don't think I'm the most dangerous man? Do I got your attention now? That's where we're getting from
right. Good call.
From Swerve. That's what I got out of the whole entire thing, was that he now asked Kenny Omega, he's so dangerous that he decides that he's not going to be in Revolution. He's going to go play video games for Capcom. That's how, yeah. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah. No, I agree that it wasn't a bad show though. It wasn't a bad show. I think last week's show, we had a good main event. We had a face-to-face. But I still think, in the next couple of weeks, I think his Revolution card still looking decent. And they still got a lot more Dynamites. They still keep Will Ospreay involved, mentioned. They didn't do a package this week, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do one in the next couple weeks leading up to Revolution. I'm not saying he has to wrestle or tease a match, but I mean, his wife is there now with teaming with Jamie Hayter. So wouldn't be surprised if Revolution we see him. We at least comes out and goes, "Hey, guy!" Like makes an appearance, like "What's up, bro?" Like something. Like I would love that to see Will Ospreay just say hi to us on TV, just to hear his theme. Hell yeah! So I think Revolution's looking good.
The build to Revolution is going well for All Elite Wrestling. Not everyone's a fan of it, especially if you're an Uber driver. You cannot stand the talks or the hear of anything.
10,000 plus in the crypto arena so far.
The Uber drivers and workers of the Uber Nation are having a storyline war when it comes to All Elite Wrestlers. Because one thing is from personal experience, Justin Roberts, you're a cheap ass when it comes to tipping your Uber driver, because trust me, I could tell you that from experience. When they were in Orlando, Florida, the guy was picked up by my son as an Uber driver. He wanted the car warm, cozy, and quiet. It was delivered. $6 tip. $6 tip to my son as an Uber driver. You cheap yapper. Then we have the biggest pendejo in professional wrestling, Darby Allin, in an Uber driver, and the Uber driver tells him to shut up in the middle of a interview, telling him again, throws him out because he says he didn't care. And my God, you got to see that interview. He says, "Get out." He says, "I don't care if you're doing an AA meeting or a recovery. Call them a drug addict. Your sponsored meetings." I'm like, oh my God. I've been driving since 5 a.m. I need you to be quiet. I don't need you talking if you're having your meetings. Oh my! I paraphrase, crazy. Man, and he goes, I guess he's not getting 5 stars on that Uber driving.
Oh man, that was fucked, dude. What's up with these AEW talent and Uber drivers, bro? Oh my
don't
God.
know,
Dude,
man.
I never forget when you told me about Justin Roberts.
Oh my God,
That
he's
doesn't
so
even
cheap.
surprise me.
Dude is
That doesn't
cheap.
even. Justin Roberts, you cheap MFer.
He didn't even cover the tolls. My son took the tolls to take you to Orlando Airport. Because I get the
This
statements.
guy
of the
wanted to
tolls.
go back to Arizona.
I
Where the
mean,
fuck he had to go?
yeah, he Justin Roberts was cheapo when it comes to tips, and Darby Allin talks too much on the podcast. The guy wanted some quiet, so interesting there. Check that out though. It was a funny moment there
That was
for.
hilarious.
That was a funny moment there, but all in all, the road for Revolution is kicking out for AEW. We'll find out what happens next week on Dynamite.
Yep.
We're moving to Thursday Night Impact. Of course, let's hear from our quick 30 seconds reset. We'll get right into TNA.
This breakdown is brought to you by our partners, sponsored by Dude Wipes, who support independent wrestling media. If you enjoy smart analysis, live debate, watch-alongs, and interviews with community-driven coverage, take a second to support the channel, like the stream, subscribe, and share it with another wrestling fan. Every click helps us keep the conversation going and the lights on. This is the Sports Jedi Network. Now, let's get back to the action. Take it away, PGH Chris and Sports Jedi Kev.
All right, we're back. We want to shout out Aaron Loves Wrestling on our Rumble chat as well, and Katie K-Dot from Body Slam. Salute to you guys, everyone that's watching us here on there. Let's go to Thursday Night Impact for the final stop there in Nashville, and they're going to be live next week on Atlanta, Georgia. I enjoyed TNA. It went so smooth, so perfect of a show. One thing that I really enjoyed was the opening where you had both champions, your X Division champion Leon Slater, Mike Santana teaming up against former tag team champions and brothers, the Nemeth, Ryan Nemeth and Nick Nemeth, who hold your shot gauntlet. Mike Santana, I've said this on my review. Mike Santana has a lot of different avenues, a lot of people gunning for the World Heavyweight title, whether it's Frankie Kazarian still lurking around, coming on commentary here and there. You have Eddie Edwards with the briefcase winning it on the Feast or Fire episode. The Collier Shark Gauntlet with Nick Nemeth. The option C of Leon Slater surrendering his X Division title for an opportunity at the TNA World Championship. And you have Steve Macklin, who's a non-TNA wrestler who still left a bitter taste in our champion's mouth. And one thing I said this, Chris, I said this on my review, and I'll say it again. When we had the privilege and honor to go to Slammiversary this year in the summer of 2025, we saw Trick Williams, and we said Trick Williams looked like he was very up to the par being a world champion, face of the company. And we said that the night before we went to Slammiversary. Mike might not win this, because if Mike wins the world title, who's next? There was no one definitive as a challenger to breathe on Mike Santana's neck. He just got through the whole system with Moose, and Moose was not a babyface at that time. He just beat AJ Francis in that Pittsburgh street fight that was really awesome that I mentioned. That we're going to talk about AJ Francis in the show as well. And there was no clear-cut challengers. He just had a hell of the feud of the year in 2025 with Mustafa Ali. You're not going to run that back as world champion just yet. So we didn't have what's next for Mike. Now we're like, holy shit, who else is going to be part of Mike Santana's world title picture to obstacles to try to gun after the Big Bronx Boricua? So, Chris, I love what TNA is doing with the world title picture. So many avenues, so many challengers for Mike to go with. It's going to keep us busy all spring.
Yeah, like I mentioned here when I talked about AEW, and I even said this Wednesday night. That's why I like what they're doing over here too. They have it's the opposite. They have all the heels that want to go against Santana. So it makes for interesting stuff. And obviously Santana's our guy. It's gonna be a summer, Kev, if Santana is the champion throughout the summer. It's going to be a fun one. I know last year was fun. Last year we had to deal with this guy chasing it in the summer. This year we get to relax and enjoy, hopefully. But no, I agree. The match was fine. It was a good match. It was a good opener. I talked about this, and I think a lot of the guys, TNA fans, the AO Productions, the Geralds, shout out to you guys. I think they even agreed with me, where I felt like TNA just needed to figure out how to start hot because the show's solid. Like it's like for them being on AMC starting out, it's not perfect. It's really, I think it's solid. Like it's more my definition of solid is more good than bad. So there's more good than bad, and it's a solid show, and they just needed to figure out how to way to start hot, and what other way to start hot than obviously the two big champions of your company and the Nemeth. So they did a good job there. I liked it. The win made sense for the Nemeths to get the win. I think Santana coming back in the ring's like yo, like I think it's hilarious because Santana, you went out of the ring. You left. You got distracted. But that's what's good though, because now we know we're gonna see him and Steve Macklin. So what they're doing with Macklin and Santana, I like that. Macklin distracting Santana from the match. Maybe him that builds to him and Leon, because next week we're getting Nick Nemeth versus Leon for the championship X Division. Who knows if Nick Nemeth wins? And then maybe Leon challenges Mike. Like there's still things that they could do with this, what they're doing next week and weeks to come. So yeah, it was a good opener. And it's set up for a good match next week between Nemeth and Leon.
When I did my review of the show, I mentioned this. Later in the show, we had Macklin come out and he was interviewed by his best friend, Tom Hannafin.
Yeah.
Where Tom Hannafin, we found out that Steve Macklin had a lot of doing of bringing Tom Hannafin into TNA brand, company, all that good stuff. We found some real, a lot of realisms throughout the promos on TNA last Thursday. We also find out that one of Steve Macklin's claims that Mike Santana is very selfish. He's a selfish individual. And when we had Mike Santana on, when we interviewed him before Christmas, he did say his first title run was for his daughter and it's for his family. The second title run is for himself. Kind of giving a little bit of twisting Mike Santana's word and some truth from Steve Macklin, saying he's being a little selfish. Also, he mentioned when he teamed up with him at Full Sail University, where Mike left him high and dry for the most part when he was supposed to be his tag partner against the TNA, the NXT Outcast that caused Mike Santana to lose his title to Frankie Kazarian. He also, Steve Macklin also mentioned Mike Santana's reasoning was he had to go for a meeting because he was, congratulations to Mike. He's 3 years sober and sobriety. Great job, man. Pa'lante mío. Que Dios te siga bendiciendo. But my point, Macklin using that storyline where he's being selfish. He thought about himself checking in. Because Macklin said when I had drinking issues in the WWE that awfully led to my release, no one cared, I didn't use that as a crutch. So he's blurring the lines with some realism. And also trying to plant the seed that Mike Santana is not a good tag team partner. Also, we know where Mike Santana originated from, Power and Glory. Bringing all that in there, it makes you want to start looking, is Mike Santana really that selfish? Where you saw before on the PLE where Mike Santana teamed up with Leon Slater the first time, where Nemeth and Moose took away the system and you left Nick Nemeth, and Leon Slater one-on-one where Leon got the pin on Nick Nemeth. It was like, oh, now, and left him high and dry. And this time around, you had Eric Young, who has a briefcase for the X Division Championship, kind of scouting out, and Santana shooting him away and leaving him one-on-one or with the Nemeth brothers. And Nick Nemeth gets the pin on Leon Slater where it's tied at 1-1 apiece. I'm glad that there are continued storylines that keep connecting tissues with everything. The X Division Championship, Eric Young, Eddie Edwards, the system, the Nemeth brothers, Mike Santana, even Steve Macklin. Everything is connected and it's making the main event tell stories. I appreciate it. I love it. And I like it because there's so many avenues. Makes you even ask the question, our guy, is Mike really selfish, Chris?
That's what I was just going to talk about that, because good thing you read my mind there. Do you blame him? Because I correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, when we see Santana and he's getting jumped, do you see anybody come out to save Santana? But when people are getting jumped, like a Sami Callihan or somebody, who's always one of the first 2 or 3 people out there? I don't blame Santana for being selfish at all. That's all I got, because it's that simple. Yes, because what I just mentioned is that reason. This guy has been trying to eat, sleep, breathe for this fucking locker room the entire 2025. He led your invasion into NXT. And when this guy gets jumped, none of the baby faces, I've said this on our watch-alongs, none of the baby faces go out there and come to his aid. No, I don't blame him for being selfish. He needs to be more selfish. He has that New York energy. You know all about that. Hell yeah.
So Macklin is telling some truths here. That's what the heels do. They twist the truth to their narrative, to their.
I think he's right. And I think he's. But I also don't see that as a bad thing. It's I think Steve Macklin's trying to turn this around on Santana as like a bad thing. Like, this guy's being selfish. But no, every time I led the whole squad, whatever. Now they could use that. I wasn't even a part of that. Whatever. Like, when they have a lot of. You're right. They have a lot of ways they could go. I could be talking here a long time on how they could go. They have a couple ways, but.
Let's say it because someone else says it and they say they were the worst ones. But if we got it in our
I don't know. Like, they could have Steve Macklin. Like, if Santana maybe turns heel, like I'm not saying that now. I'm saying if he loses his championship down the road in some bullshit way. I'm not saying this year, whatever. I'm not saying it could happen. That's far fetched. That's why I was like, there's a but. Like I just mentioned, if he gets to a point where it's like, how much can I do for this locker room and this brand, and nobody's coming to me like this and that, like, you know what I'm saying? That continues to happen. Like, the Nemets continue to jump this guy. Remember, Nick Nemeth still has that cup. Frankie Kazarian probably wants his comeuppance. The system. And imagine those guys go on for the next couple of months. Nobody comes to protect him. He keeps defending his championships. Eventually, he loses it. And then now, like, all of a sudden, like, somebody and whatever is like, yo, and Santana's just one day spazzes out and is like, no, you guys weren't there for me when I, like, whatever. I'm not ruling that out in late 2026, early 2027. Absolutely not. But, like, for now, I think Steve Macklin, again, this is a way to keep him involved without saying he's there. So, and that's the main thing that I thought was kind of far-fetched, that whatever, but I see that happening. I see maybe Nick Nemeth even beating Leon next week, and Leon and Santana do something. Cause again, Mike Santana could have that, if he wants to prove Steve Macklin's point, you lost the match. You took the pin. What the hell? And then Leon calls them out on it. Like, yo, Steve Macklin says you're selfish, bruv, and he's starting to be right.
You got what I was coming from. Steve Macklin is using divide and conquer tactics. Remember, he said there's no secret that this man is a former United States Marine Corps veteran. Right. And he knows divide and conquer. He's dividing, planting the seed to Leon Slater. Like, look, that's why he said he left me behind as a tag team partner, or he wasn't there when I needed him at that time in Full Sail. He came in all late because he thought about himself being selfish. He left you that day chasing me at the pay-per-view at the PLE, when you took out all 4 members of the system, or when they interfered, and Nick Nemeth. And granted, Moose was your saving grace. Also, he left you when Eric Young came out and left you high and dry against the Nemeth brothers to take the pin and lose. That's why I think Macklin is trying to divide and conquer. He's not with the company yet, but I think he's going to get so much under Santana's skin with all the divide and getting everyone against him that Santana is going to want so much. His comeuppance is going to say, rehire this man, whatever you need to do, give him a contract. I need to kick his ass. I need him in the ring. I need him sanctioned by TNA because I need my hands on him. And I think that's where it's going to lead. And that's the tactic Steve Macklin is using, which is compelling episodic television for TNA Impact, especially when they're going to be live next week. We're getting the match. You could say the best of 3. Finally, in a one-on-one with Nick Nemeth and Leon Slater. Just think of this. Nick Nemeth could walk away X Division champion because it's not for the call your shot. He didn't call his shot for the X Division championship. He's getting an X Division champion for pinning Leon Slater. He could walk away with the X Division champion call your shot gauntlet and an opportunity to become a double champion. And I asked this question, and I really don't, and I should have Googled it and checked it. This is 24 hours again, my part, my mistake. But has ever been anyone that held both the X Division champion and the world title simultaneously in TNA's history?
Bobby Lashley and Kurt Angle.
Okay, I did not know that.
Bobby Lashley held it, and Kurt Angle in 2007. I know that, and Bobby Lashley when he had his Impact run in like 2016, 17. I think those are the two. And there's been multiple like other ones. Like I know Evan Bourne, Matt Sydal. It was really bad, but he had the X Division champion and some other champion. It wasn't the world championship, but
but the world title, the TNA world title and the X Division title.
From my knowledge, Bobby Lashley and Kurt Angle.
Okay.
Are the two that comes to my head.
I say this, why I say this, and I plant that seed, Chris.
It hasn't been done in a while. I think
Because
Bobby Lashley is the last one.
In a couple of weeks is WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
If you see a double champion and Nick Nemeth with both, after seeing him in that John Cena tournament, X Division world champion, is that like eyeballs to the product? I'm not saying he's going to win it, but I'm just throwing it out there. What if?
Is that if that happens? Is that eyeballs to the product? Yeah, it's Nick Nemeth.
What has Carlos
that company has?
What Carlos always told us, or when we have interviewed him, he likes his company to have short-term goals, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, always achieving and growing and making the product, or breaking expectations on those short-term goals. That's him becoming a double champion in your second or your 3 to 6 months in TNA when the product is showing the grows with viewership.
Okay,
is all going to draw nothing but more interest to the product.
So it sounds like you're saying they gave Santana the championship to open AMC era. Let's see what you could do with this. Now that this is going well, let's see what we could do with Nemeth, and then maybe that's what they're doing, trying to prevent
the plateau, getting ahead before the company plateaus or the viewership.
That's definitely that's a possibility because, dude, Nick, like, I don't think Nick Nemeth's just one of the best. He is the best wrestler in TNA. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world that are still going right now. Like, he's so good. Like, I don't really think people understand how good Dolph Ziggler and Nick Nemeth like really is. So, and again, if people want to talk about, well, we don't know how he is relevant now. Did you guys not watch Monday Night Raw on MSG last time they were there during the John Cena run? I think people want to see him. Yeah, absolutely. I think no question.
That's a possibility. That's on the table. That's on the table.
Oh, I mean, I think it's sealed. I wouldn't be surprised.
And you're hearing it from two uber Mike Santana fans.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that Mike can't get it back in the summer, in the Slammiversary, and make it right there again.
Yeah, no, not at all. And it's like Santana he's the biggest baby face in the company. Like, he's like, but when we have to think business wise. This is why Silva's there. You have to think business. If I want to promote my company, I'm sending Nick Nemeth. That's just what it is. If I need if my life's on the line, I need one person to go out there and promote and to try to boost this thing. And who I have, I take a look at every single person. It's either one or two people, Matt or Jeff Hardy or Nick Nemeth. Those are the two people in that company that I'm marketing over everybody. So yes, I'm not surprised.
We'll see.
If you want to throw Matt as the Hardy Boys, sure. But yes, those are the 2-3 people in that entire company that you market. So yes, I agree. Nick Nemeth.
I like it because now look at the buzz and the creation and on the fantasy booking and all the possibilities that we have there of having this conversation about marketing and growing TNA. TNA, we could say right now they're in the 200,000s of viewership right now. I didn't see the new Thursday night ratings that came out.
Those didn't come out yet. I know last week they took a
20,000 to 25,000 dip.
And again, that's because I think they started off the way they did. That's why I said what I said. That's it. And I think that's fair because the rest of the show flowed well last week. It's just the opening. And again, when you're opening a show, that's the one thing I think you want to have to. I think that's even more important than your main event. Sometimes, especially right now for them, is how they start.
Yeah.
And they did that this week. So I expect the ratings to go up. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so we're seeing that they want to grow. They don't want, and the way the management has shown us under this new regime with a year now under Carlos Silva, they want to always get ahead of the plateau phase. And Gabe, and you got to give them command. And wouldn't be surprised if they still do something different. Remember, next week is going to be live from Atlanta, Georgia. You got some good matches there, but we're talking about what happened this Thursday. If you want the full review, you could check out my on the channel, my personal review of TNA, like Chris's personal review of AEW's Dynamite. We're trying to put some review recaps of the different shows. We're in the work of getting a SmackDown, and as well, SmackDown normally is going to be here because we get together and speak about it. But Monday Night Raw and NXT, I did an NXT review, but again, work relation, and we work and get up early. It's hard to come for me live right after the show. Immediately at midnight is a tough one for TNA on Thursday night. That's how you're talking about coming in at 11, finishing at about midnight or 12:30. That's a long day for someone who gets up at 3 in the morning. That's why we do the following day. But you can always catch us on the audio platform on Wrestle, Soups, and Friendos. Check that out as well as part of and also our audio podcasts. Anywhere we get audio, you can listen to it the next quick day, and you can hear it, take it on the go. If you're on a long train ride or out and about on a treadmill, whatever the case is, you can put us in there and listen to us as well. We appreciate that as well. Something that I did enjoy and I talked about was the face-to-face. Believe it or not, Mickie James, TNA Hall of Famer, Knockout Hall of Famer, and Ash by Elegance. I like the fact that Mickie James told the concierge, go back, you toupee clown. I want to talk to Ash. We find out that Mickie James had a lot to do for Ash being in TNA, picking up the phone and making a contact to give her an opportunity for Ash. I thought Ash held her own, believe it or not, in her promo. Back and forth banter. At the end of the day, they got what I wanted. I want to see these two ladies go. I mentioned this, Chris, on the review. I want to see Mickie James sign for at least 3 to 6 month run in TNA. The fact is, you need a female Hall of Famer in that locker room. Now, I'm not saying they're disheveled or they're not doing the right thing, but how to teach those ladies like Mila Moore, Jada Stone, the Marlon Grace, Holly Hudson, those ladies how to be a true TNA knockout. You could get it with NXTers. For those that complain the NXT women to come in and take those titles, you need these ladies to step up, and no better than a locker arena that's there with TNA, who's been there, who reinvent herself outside of WWE, who gave birth to Hardcore Country, who is a Hall of Famer, not just one, and hopefully 2 wrestling companies, is James. Because I said Ashley is the veteran, but Ashley's still finding herself. She's still carving out who she is outside of the WWE, while we know Mickie James know who she is outside of the WWE and TNA and the wrestling world.
I don't know if this was last week or one of the weeks before, whatever, we learned that Jazz was departing from TNA to go to NXT. But I did say that Mickie James should have stepped in that position. It looks like that Candice Michelle is. So, whatever. If this is a way to still get her involved with the Knockouts division, sure. I agree 100%. But the actual promo, I honestly, I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was. I thought Mickie being there made Ash go a little harder. I still think she comes off very cringy in her deliverance, but that's her character at the end of the day. So I'm not going to nitpick on that, but I still think she comes off very cringy. There were parts where Mickie was, which again, heel, I liked it, but she was interrupting. Mickie told her to, in the beginning, felt a little bit when Ash walked out and she started whatever, I'm like, okay. I think it picked up, and I think they did some good things especially where Mickie started talking. It picked up to me where Mickie starts talking about, you're the reason why you're here. I called Tommy Dreamer. That's why I'm like, oh, okay. They're throwing shots, and then Ash says she's the hottest free. I was like, okay, like that picked up for me right there. And with Mickey's son, that was okay. That's personal. That's heel. That's rivalry stuff. So I think in the next couple of weeks they should continue this. They can continue this. Obviously lead up to a match. In a big match somewhere. But This is if you want to make Ash improve, I think Mickey James is the perfect person for her to do it with. That's somebody that she's going to be comfortable with, especially since they have that backstage history. Obviously, Mickey's gone on the record and said this multiple times about Ash, how she got her the job there. So clearly they're close. So I'm for it. I'm for it. I didn't think it was bad. It's just Ash. I still think she comes off a little bit cringy, but you know that I thought the points they both made came across well. That's the main thing. They made their points. It came across good, and you know, let's see it again. I think that's what matters. That you want to see this again. And if you were asking me, I would say yeah.
That's exactly how I want to see. I want to see these two ladies go at it. I'm invested. I am invested. I want to see these two ladies going forward, and I want to see more Mickey James, even if it's just until the summertime, where we see her, or even like I said, 3 months. Give me 3 months of her being a knockouts in the storyline. You know, maybe rub off on Ash, because even if she beats the Hall of Famer, the TNA Hall of Famer is going to help Ash still solidify herself outside of the WWE. And maybe they could give some tips to take away a little bit of the cringiness. You know, I like the fact that everything they attacked her. They rused her to go back to protect her son Donovan, and of course we saw Jody Threat babysitting and so forth. They also left out, or they were part of it, where Jody Threat got attacked, but by the Diamond Club, which is something they bruised right by it. They really put too much emphasis behind that, because you felt like you just had the Elegance brand there. Why so many people in that locker room attacked Jody Threat, which is kind of interesting, but they're setting up for that match next week because Adriana Grace is taking on Jody Threat. Yes. One thing that I did mention about that, I felt confused when unlike the men's world title picture for the knockouts, because prior to the year starting, you had Dani Luna, who won a number one contender. She is the number one contender. She was supposed to take on Ying Lee at Genesis before the visa issues. We had Zarya instead. Fine, there's no issue with that. But they never mentioned, they kind of like, she's a number one contender. So did Jody Threat winning that battle royal. She's the number one contender. What's going on with all the different number one contenders, where what direction Adriana Grace comes in and gets a title? And I understand story-wise, duped her father for getting that title. She won. She jumped the line and won and became the Knockouts champion. And also Ying Lee wants probably a rematch. But after Dani Luna beating her and the way she did, I was a little critical about the referee was very lenient with that chain, because she didn't even attempt to get the chain out of the harm's way of the performers, kind of left it there. And kudos to Dani Luna using the chain where Ying Lee gets hit by the headbutt and with the German suplex for that victory. Your thoughts on the whole knockouts situation that I just mentioned?
I think, well, okay, without repeating myself, because I think we know who I think should be champion. I'll say this. I think this I might be a little repetitive, but this could be a way to maybe get Split Fire to fight again. Like if Dani Luna could easily cost Jody Threat a match because of that exact reason you just mentioned. That's like the one thing I think that could make sense. Ariana walks out, you're champion still.
Okay. We'll see where that goes on that there. But you're not as confused as I am on who's the number one contender, who should be in that ring with Adriana.
Yes and no, because I do think they had to move on from Dani Luna, because you can't sit on that for a long time. But I do think they could have implicated her before Jody Threat. It could have been an Impact match, at least get her the match, and then do the Jody Threat. That's why the number one contenders battle royal to begin with didn't make sense of why it was happening, because of that reason. So that's awesome. What I've a little bit confusing, but I think I can see a way where they could get themselves out of it.
Very well explained there. The Righteous Hardys. I love them. How much the Righteous are trying to endear themselves to the Hardys. I mean, you saw Vincent take a Boston Knee party in the main event, and causing them to lose. Do you think Dutch and Vincent going to have the Hardys drop their guard down to accept them, and then
that's the goal, and then that's the goal. Yep, I think that's Vincent's. That's I get that vibe from Vincent, especially.
Can I say this? Isn't that fucking good storytelling?
I love the Righteous, man. I think they're awesome. I think they're awesome. I've been saying this since I've said this for a little bit. I was a little bit okay. Let me see what they got because I know a little bit about them before coming in, and then whatever. But their match at Genesis, their match at Genesis really made me a bigger or not. Well, not Genesis, because they had that fucking multi-man match. What was the paper PLE that they had the match against the Hardys?
They had it on Genesis.
Was it at was it No Surrender, the last one of the year? I thought Genesis they did the Hardys.
No, they did the Order 4 matchup. Yes.
Yeah, they did the Hardys and them versus the Order 4. That's what I'm saying. Whatever the pay-per-view was, I'm gonna look that up. It's gonna drive me nuts. But I anyway, it was that match that got me kind of into the Righteous a lot more, and they've been killing it. They've been killing it. Let's see. Was it a PLE?
It probably was the Thursday night Impact Live.
It was a Thursday night. Okay, yeah. Okay. Anyway, it was one of the things that they did with the Hardys that was pretty cool.
One thing that I want to end it with this for TNA, and we'll do Elimination Chamber and all that good stuff prediction because we're a couple hours away from it. I'm okay with what we got from Mance Warner and AJ Francis. You know, I've been a big fan of wanting to see these two guys go at it. I like the fact how they got to the disqualification because it's going to lead to more stipulation match. I've given credit to TNA Wrestling and AJ Francis and Reality of Wrestling. They really gotten the best out of AJ Francis as a character. Heel, doing the greatest work of his whole entire wrestling career for AJ Francis. I like them even better than Hit Row in NXT from AJ Francis. Anything that he did in WWE, I mean, anything in TNA has already trumped it by just him showing up to TNA already trumped anything he did on SmackDown when it came to AJ Francis. And Mance Warner, the minute this guy walked in, you know, this guy looked like he's a walking chaos in a good way. All his matches, you know, Chase saw Charlie kind of a compliment there, you know, meeting Stan Hansen, you know, kind of that Southern Psycho persona that just confuses. I love everything about Mance Warner. I can't wait to see this match. It's got to be on a pay-per-view PLE because there's going to be color in this match. I go back to AJ Francis' Pittsburgh street fight with Mike Santana. That was freaking awesome. And I can't wait to see these two guys just tear each other apart. I don't want to see a cage match. I need a stipulation match with these guys. I don't know. I can't wait to see what inventions or what happen. Maybe a lethal lockdown. I don't know, Chris.
First off,
which is a steel cage.
Yeah. First off, it was Genesis that they had that one-on-one that
PvP
match. You were right initially, so yes. Okay, but anyway, yeah. No, I agree. I think look, they got a bunch of stuff that they could do here. You know. What's coming up? What's the next pay-per-view?
No Surrender in New Orleans.
In New Orleans. So, you know,
they have the live on Thursday though, which
they
is
have
rock,
Rebellion in Cleveland. So
yes,
that's, you know, we talked about earlier with Nick Nemeth. So yeah, they got a lot. They got a lot that TNA in the next few weeks. We'll see. They're doing really good stuff though. They're not. Nothing's bad. Nothing's bad about TNA. A little bit of the placements, and a little bit of the knockouts division, but they're solid. They're very, very, very solid.
Yeah, and we're getting a number one contenders tag team match because I'm like, what else for the Hardys coming up on Thursday? You have the Sinners and Saints. You have the combination of Rich Swann and BDE. You have the Righteous. And you have the System on Eddie Edwards and Bear Brunson.
Yeah, I think
it's a fatal four-way.
I think the Righteous win that. They go on. Maybe they win the tag team titles. Maybe, but I think the Righteous. I still think they're doing that. I think that's the best thing for the division right now. And then you still have, you know, the Hardys or the Nemeths and Ryan and them, which I don't think they're going to go back to the tag team title scene, but you obviously could. I don't think BDE and Rich Swann, maybe Sin and Sinners, whatever they could. But I think Sinners and Sins. That's what I'm. Saints. That's what they go. Okay, that's what they're called. Okay, no, they're not bad, but I want to see a little more of them clearly. So, yeah, I think the Righteous is the Righteous game. I think they could have a tag team title shot or run.
Yeah, definitely, and that is TNA Impact Zone. We'll be watching one of the most compelling nights. Elimination Chamber was going to start in a couple hours. We're going to have the watch along here on the YouTube platform as well as the Rumble, where you're able to watch with it. If you can't see it tonight, you can watch with us on the Rumble app, Sports Jedi Network, Rumble app, as well as Kick. So you're able to see the product or not watch along with us traditional. And we want to hear from you in the chat on our watch alongs tonight here on the Sports Jedi Network. One thing we have, I thought Friday Night SmackDown was greatly improved. Very good. Everything was really good. One thing I'm going to go brief it. The one thing that I didn't like, I'm going to give you the dislike. I didn't like the R-Truth, what's in the box, where the ESPN app, not because of what he told us, how to get ESPN app and all the promotion and all that. Good to see Truth. I just didn't like that we saw the whole catering tag team crew there. And you flew the Motor City Machine Guns, the Lotharios. You flew all these guys in just to stand around a box and talk about the ESPN Plus app. I hope ESPN paid for all their accommodations for that appearance at SmackDown, because the Machine Gun should be wrestling more. Even though we're going to get tag team action next week. We're going to get similar to TNA. They're going to be a number one contendership as well. You got Axiom and Nathan Frazier wasting the talents. That's the one thing I didn't like. You could debate on the tag team championship for the women afterwards. One thing the match wasn't bad. One thing I did, watching it via VPN on the international feed on our watch along, that out of all the 3 hours, that was the time that the VPN or Netflix decides they're going to put ads, regardless if you're on a VPN or if you're international, was on your women's tag team title match. They must have loaded that up with 3 commercials in that match. And why? You're in a world title match where you're going to, especially knowing the results, you're going to change the titles, and you take us out of the luster of the women tag team titles, Chris. I thought that I was livid.
Yeah, they got a problem with commercial placements. That's a problem with this company and throughout all their shows. But I thought the result made sense with Lash and Nia, winning the women's tag team champions. So it's just that does suck, because you kind of don't get as vested into the ending as you normally would.
And I hate to say this, but with all this Unreal, I need an Unreal episode about someone conversating with the Netflix officials or Netflix talking about when they're going to place ad placement. Where is the touch? Don't they watch this product? Don't they get feedback? You really took an ad. You really made us break here in the middle of the match when we have something going on. I mean, do they not see how you take your fans out of the momentum of watching this? Where when you give us an ad commercial about One Piece and what was the other stupid show that they were showing us over and over on that? They give you the same ad over and over again. Like, in a one course of a match, we saw that same freaking ad of One Piece and the other show and the Medea for the 50th time. I mean, dude, Tyler Perry, if you have a fascination dressing up like a woman, come out of the closet already and get the fuck out of here and get lost. I'm tired of it. I don't want to see it every ad. I'm like, enough with your movies. I got limited, Chris. I had enough.
I know.
This is not free. This is Netflix is expensive. It's not free. It just that drives me crazy. That drove me crazy, especially in the world title picture. That was the one negative. Everything else was fine. The independent wrestler that came out in the Masked Man and the Logan Paul. The big question is who took out Jey Uso in the beginning of the show? Who took it out? Who's your thoughts?
Adrenaline in my soul. I think Cody Rhodes coming heel.
Interesting. I thought it was the crap weasel of all the crap weasel, the king of the crap weasels, the king of the redheads, the one and only Sami Zayn.
That's a very good guess.
Immediately.
That's
Sami Zayn.
Damn it. You might have me thinking differently.
Especially when we got that face-to-face with Jacob Fatu. And pointing the figure. Immediately pointing the figure at Jacob Fatu. I was like, you crap weasel. You freaking con man weasel. Sami Zayn. I think it's Sami Zayn.
That's a very good one. I would not be surprised if they shocked us all here. They need something. But the thing is, Drew's a heel. So I don't know.
Yeah, but Jacob...
But the thing is, bro...
said.
What?
He said, who benefited with the Claymore? I got kicked. Cody, you didn't get... Drew basically helped you.
And I was going to say, because it's hard because he comes off so heel, but like again, if this was like Drew, like people, I've seen some people still think this is him. I'm like, dude, you don't think he would love to take credit for this? Like, it's dude, I'm the world champion.
Things like that.
Exactly. Like, dude, that's one less person I gotta worry about. Like, dude, he would have no. So, Sammy's a good answer, I think, because him not being involved, and that obviously could get him upset. Is Jacob fooling us? And maybe because he that's his cousin. He took out his cousin because he didn't get a shot. He wants to get a shot at Drew. I don't know. But if I had to pull a wild card, I would say Cody Rhodes. I feel like everybody is trying to get in his way.
I don't see Royce Keys because why? Why get Jey Uso? What does Royce Keys will benefit taking out Jey Uso? It's not like he didn't get the chamber spot. It was Logan Paul who got the chamber spot because he took on Jacob Fatu, which I like how they got to it. That was worthy of a main event.
Yeah.
But the Mask Man, the independent wrestler that's part of Seth Rollins' student of his school. That's just a breadcrumb there. I'm not going to go too crazy of it. We know it's Seth Rollins. We don't know, but are you excited seeing Seth Rollins and Logan Paul again at WrestleMania? Different storyline. I think it'll work. Believe it or not, I think it will.
At this point, we got it. We need it. The two matches we could have had are out the window. So,
and it's not going to be Bad Bunny, guys. We watch our video last week's show. Yeah, we had Alex Coquito on, and people still they don't grasp, they don't comprehend, they don't understand politics. Puerto Rican politics are not going to allow this match to happen.
Yep.
Plain and simple. Check our video. Check out Rican Reactions. Alex Coquito. The podcast of Unappreciative Wrestling Fans. A third shout out to him and their group there. He was a guest for us last week. Check out our video. Even clip. It's not freaking happening because of politics, and it runs deeper than just money talks and bullshit walks when it comes to Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico culture and stuff. Where he's not going to work with Logan Paul one-on-one. So put it in the closet. It ain't happening. Yep. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. We've been saying that, and we'll be the first one. We were down. We will be the first one to say we were uber wrong, but it ain't fucking happening. I don't think it's happening. I like the fact how to get it. One thing I did say that made happen, Chris, and this is important, and this is something that fuels my anger and my point. I love, and I got to give credit to the KFC Young Center. There was a lot of children in the crowd. You heard it throughout the broadcast, the yelling, the cheer. It felt like a great monster house show, screaming for Tiffany. The crowd was hot through the whole show. Yeah. And you heard a lot of youth voices yelling and screaming, energizing, clapping, involved. Kudos to Lexington, Kentucky for all the people that went out there, that supported, that endured those high prices, and they got their money's worth. They made SmackDown also feel very special, very energetic, and very lively because of those people in those arena. They were awesome. They were top-notch, class act, top of the heap for that group at the KSC Young Center. Bravo. You guys made SmackDown great. And this is where I get to, we need house shows because you need the abuelos, the grandfathers, the grandmothers, the aunts, the uncles, take their nephews, their parents, and take the young ones to go watch and scream and yell like that. So wrestlers could see they're overwork things, try something different. I had the crowd going. So when they get on television, you get good television. You get good wrestling. You don't get crap that you're like, oh my God, I need to change the channel. You don't need the IWC copy and pasting Mr. Disrespectful memes of him sleeping. No, you want people to start talking good about the show and how hot and how energetic it was, Chris. I got to give credit to KFC Young Center. I loved it.
I give them credit because Monday I posted a picture of Winnie the Pooh or whoever laying in bed covering and was like, oh, because Monday Night Raw was not as I thought they started off SmackDown hot. Yeah, good job. I know I gave SmackDown some shit the last three weeks. But I got to give them their props this week. Better show. It
was a good go-home show. Normally, they could have played it super uber safe for a go-home show because tonight to later. A couple hours, it's the Elimination Chamber. You're gonna watch it anyway. So we'll play it safe. Make sure no one gets injured. No, they really gave us a good show. You know, they gave us a good show all across there. All you know, Tiffany Stratton in the match. You know, Johnny Gargano waking up from his slumber, walking away, getting out of the planking, causing. I like how because that caused Candice LeRae to lose to Tiffany, which is good. Okay, I could get it. Let's give some predictions of the Elimination Chamber. Now we know that Logan Paul is in the chamber. Men's, I still think it kind of. I thought Cody because I'm like. Yeah, it has got to be Cody. I can't see anyone else for the Cody. For the women, it's interesting because all through the night, through the thread, you saw Jade Cargill get in the face of Raquel on all the different women, back and forth, where, you know, anyone could be anyone. So I think Creative knows who's definitively going to take on Jade Cargill at WrestleMania until right now they're probably having meetings as we're speaking. Who is actually going to go over on the finish?
I think I'm going to say Tiffany.
I'm hoping it's Raquel Rodriguez. Something different, far-fetched. But to me, I'm going with Rhea Ripley. If I had to put money, it's Rhea.
If I had a bet, yes. If I was betting,
after losing the tag team titles, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
And I think Io takes on Julia because they also tease a little bit of that in the locker room, backstage, and all that stuff. And then that's going to only help Julia's stock in, you know, because we're finally going to see the kind of great match that she could put on. You know, with Io Sky. Storyline wise, I don't know if it's going to hit story wise, but in ring is going to knock it out of the park. And personally, if they do an audible and they give me Raquel, I'll be fanatically ecstatic.
So would I.
If I get Raquel versus Jade Cargill. I mean, you know, especially for the, you know, like you said, first 2 hours, hour number one of night one and hour number one of night two are going to be on ESPN, ESPN plus ESPN2 and ESPN on Sundays at no cost for anyone who has the ESPN on network television, which is going to be a great thing. So I'm interested to see how that goes and who they're going to put there for the Elimination Chamber. I think CM Punk retains. I don't see CM Punk losing his world title. I think Dominic Mysterio, Judgment Day, something along those lines is going to intertwine stuff there. I think AJ Lee is going to be your Intercontinental Champion. I can't see Becky losing.
I think Becky's going to win.
Okay, I see AJ Lee. I think you're giving Chicago a nice feel good moment. They book for the feel good moments.
I think that
this is not Vince. This is not Vince. You don't go over at home in your home city and on your birthday. So this is something different.
I think this would be a mistake.
I think Triple H wants that photo op point at AJ Lee because he doesn't have one, and that's where I think that's where it goes. All right, that's just me.
Unfortunately, you're probably right, but.
Any other than the box, no other matches. So 4-match card. 4.
Box is Danhausen.
The box, he says, is Danhausen. Send it back to NXT then if it's Danhausen. You don't belong on the main roster.
I agree.
That's an NXT gimmick. There you know. So you should have just saved us trouble and send it to. I'm thinking I'm going to take a far-fetched. What is if it's an Ultimate X match for WrestleMania?
That would be fucking awesome.
Right? Wouldn't that be? That'd be cool. Or if it's a statue. If open up, it's the statue of Vincent Kennedy McMahon going into the Hall of Fame.
Holy shit. I'm back, pal. No, I'm not going to say.
He says, I'm back, and it's a statue of him, and it says, the initials Hall of Fame. Oh, my goodness.
Oh. I think WrestleMania wouldn't do well.
Bullshit. There's a lot of Vince closet lovers. Get the hell out of here. There's a lot of them. It's just a small minority that wants to jump on the voicing of not this.
I like
Vince wrestling business and all that. Great. Outside of that everything that he's said, it's true.
But again, we know a lot of people cannot put those differences aside. We're seeing this
absolutely.
So don't. And this again, this is bigger than that. So
I agree.
I think you're right, but I think for this specific thing, it has the possibility to backfire. That's not going to happen, but
no, we're just
if it were to happen, I could definitely see it for this situation.
And that's it. That's what we have our prediction for the WrestleMania. It's going to be Cody. Here's the one thing. I want to know how the hell they're going to get into giving us a 6-man or a triple threat if Cody wins the Elimination Chamber against Drew McIntyre? How are we adding this? Because I know
I have no idea.
Jacob mentioned that he is going to solve the Drew McIntyre problem to Aldis, and Aldis kind of agree with it. But the only way I can see Aldis adding Jacob into all this, if it's Cody, the one, like you said, going back to you, that attacked Drew McIntyre, attacked Jacob Fatu back then, and Jey Uso, where Jacob and now says, you see what I mean? Is where, along those lines, or even if, even if it's Jay, or even if Drew McIntyre, I think they're going to do something lame and say it was always Drew all along and he lied.
Yeah.
I think that would be lame. I think that's going to be lame, that Drew has always been a bro-faced liar. It's not the first time that he lied, and he said that, he actually did do all the attacks and all the stuff. And that's where you could probably have a Jacob Fatu involved in the triple threat, where Aldis says, you know what, you caused me too much. Yeah, you're going to defend it, and not just one, against two. And then Sami Zayn is going to lurk around and try to chase the hug and says, I was screwed too. And you get it, and it's gonna. And I don't want a fatal 4-way. I could tolerate the triple threat. I don't want a fatal 4-way, Chris.
I agree.
I don't want a fatal 4-way with Sami Zayn in it. Any chance? I'm gonna be honest. I told everyone on the watch along yesterday, I will mark out like a maniac if Trick Williams wins the Elimination Chamber. It's not gonna happen, but I will mark out.
That'd be cool.
I will mark out because knowing Trick, and so forth. If Trick, knowing Trick and knowing as well what he have gone through and what we know about him and all that good stuff, for me, it will be something special to mark out the win it. So we'll see how that goes for Trick. As me and my wife were there with Trick Williams in a house show there, so we know how Trick is cool. Stay tuned. So we're gonna go say good night. We're gonna say good afternoon, or we'll see you for the watch along. You can watch with us. This is hit like, share, subscribe. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to our friends, our collaborators from Wrestling Super and Friendos, Jeff Lippman, to TCP Podcast with Hello Media from Samuel Lyons. Thank you for Alex Coquito, NXT Time with D-Walk, and the podcast of wrestling, of unappreciative wrestling fans. They're going to be on tonight as well, so check them out there on the YouTube side as well. Everyone from Amarillo's Wrestling, of course. Thank you, K-Dot from BodySlam.net. Appreciate you. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. We'd love to collaborate. If you'd love to collaborate with us as well, we'd love to have you on as a guest to conversate some wrestling, and that's well. And everyone on all across. Don't forget PGA Chris TV, Crossbody Media. Don't forget to hit all that stuff. Check it out. Wednesday nights and if you want to hear some sports, some Pittsburgh Steelers stuff, and Austin's MMA report coming up, the birthday boy, we'll be putting that live. So with me from you, have a great afternoon. We'll see you a little later, man. See ya. Peace out.
Represento